Welcome to Blog Talk Radio in high fidelity.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news in the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib. We have a great show for you today, and as always, you can catch us on the web at www.ringsidereporter.com. If you want to call and ask questions or just give your 2 cents, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. Hit option 1 if you want to talk to us, and we'll be here till about 9 o'clock tonight. Today, we're going to talk about Richard Schaefer is helping put together a tournament for 50 racks. Gangster talk for $50 million. We'll tell you all about it. Terrence Crawford, his baby mama, gets into a fight with his side girl, lands himself in our train wreck of the week. And sad news as legendary trainer Lou Duva passes away. But first, we get started with the fight of the weekend. Well, maybe not, but hey, we'll start there. David Lemieux versus Curtis Stevens on HBO After Dark. David Lemieux scored a big third-round KO over Curtis Stevens on Saturday night in Verona, New York. This fight went exactly, as everybody expected it, with both guys coming out trading big shots, the whole way. David Lemieux, to me, looked to be more in control of the fight than Stevens did. Both landed big shots throughout. Lemieux hit Stevens with a right hand, followed by a huge left hook that Stevens didn't see coming. In the third round that ended the fight, Stevens was knocked out cold. Time was 1:59 of round 3. The worst part, the absolute worst part of this whole thing was that Stevens just celebrated a birthday on Friday, and he was knocked out cold in front of his mom in the front row on Saturday. That's a hard way to go. That's a rough week, man. I thought I had that's a rough week right there. Robert, what did you think? I mean, and I attributed this to, it looked like Lemieux dropped a bunch of weight, and they really had a tough weight camp. He didn't look good. He didn't look good coming in. He looked a little flabby to me, which to me indicates that he had a hard time making the weight and hydrated like all night. A lot of times when you hydrate that much, you kind of get that extra, you look a little flabby. You're not really, but you kind of look that way because of the hydration process. But Robert, what do you think of David Lemieux overall?
Well, I thought he did exactly what we all thought he would do, but and don't forget, during the summer we covered a story about him where he had a fight scheduled and he had to cancel it because he could not make the weight. I'm wondering if he needs to go up to 168. I wonder if he would do better up there because he did kind of look out of shape. And God, Max Kellerman. Now I can understand why HBO isn't on so much. He constantly had to remind everybody, well, Lemieux's not in very good shape. He looks awful. He looks awful. And Roy Jones had to remind me why HBO wasn't on very much. Jeez, don't get me started on those people. But no, I'm wondering if he needs to go up to 168 because he did, if the fight would have went, say 9-10 rounds, I wonder what kind of condition he would have been in. Thank God he ended it when he did, because if it would have went any kind of distance, it would have favored Curtis Stevens. Stevens looked in much better shape, and it looks like John David Jackson is trying to do good work with him, but you can't do anything when you get hit with a sleeping pill, brother. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think David Lemieux should go up to 168 because last summer he had a fight canceled because he couldn't make weight, and Saturday he didn't look good,
I guess,
physical wise.
I tell you, the funny part about that is, he's kind of has to move up, doesn't he? I mean, think about it. I mean, it just makes you appreciate what Triple G did to both of these guys. But I mean, he kind of has to move up. He's not going to beat Triple G. Triple G demolished that guy. I mean, that fight wasn't even close. He lost every round.
Right.
And then get KO'd on top of that. I mean, so where's he going? And I mean,
Well,
why are you struggling?
They both got KO'd by Triple G.
Yeah, but my point is, like, you know, why struggle to make the middleweight limit? There's nothing for you there. He's going to unify all the belts, and then you're back to square one. I mean, you're not getting a shot at. You're not getting, you know, nobody wants to see that fight again. Nobody's going to pay to see that fight again. You know, I would take my chances going up to 168.
And he's not getting Canelo either, Eric.
No, heck no. Beeb, what were your thoughts? What were your thoughts on this fight?
Well, the thing is David Lemieux is definitely a very underrated boxer. I think the difference in this fight, obviously, was the size. And I think that the misconception in boxing or in a lot of sports is just because you don't have a six-pack, it doesn't mean you're not in shape. Obviously, it did look like he ballooned up in weight. I wouldn't say he looked flabby. He looked like he was retaining a lot of water. You know, he looked like he was bloated somewhat. He looked really full. He didn't look svelte. But to me, he didn't look out of shape. He just looked like what it was. He put on a lot of weight in a short period of time. And but that wasn't an indication that he was out of shape to me. I mean, I didn't think he was blowing hard at all. I thought he fought at a very quick pace. And I thought he slowed down the pace a little bit because he wanted to be a little bit more calculated, a little bit more precise with his punches. And I think that served him well because once he settled down, he was able to pick and choose his spots a little bit better. And he just seemed to be, one or two steps ahead of Curtis Stevens. Curtis Stevens was definitely the smaller guy. And I don't think he hits as hard as David Lemieux, and I don't think he's as accurate as a puncher as David Lemieux. And I think David Lemieux's more of a fluid combination puncher where Curtis Stevens likes to kind of load up with those single shots. I mean, he'll set those single shots up, but he's throwing that one power shot at a time, whereas everything David Lemieux throws is hard when he wants to sit down on it. So, if the right hand doesn't get you, the left hook will. Whereas with Curtis Stevens, his money punch is that left hook, and he really has to establish that proper distance to be able to crank that up. And he's not the quickest guy in the world on his feet, whereas David Lemieux has some pretty good foot speed, and he definitely has quicker hand speed, in my opinion, than Curtis Stevens. So a lot of times, where they were both kind of engaging and they were trading shots, what you saw was David Lemieux's shot would get there first, and it would get there cleaner and more flush. And I thought a lot of the shots that Curtis Stevens landed, they weren't landing flush, and they were partially blocked, or they were hitting David Lemieux more so on the top of the head. Whereas, David Lemieux was really getting leverage on those shots. And when you're the taller guy and you're punching down, as opposed to punching up like Stevens was, the guy punching down is definitely going to get more leverage, and he's going to have more weight behind the shot because it's definitely, more of a concussive blow when you're punching downward as opposed to reaching upward. So all in all, I got sick and tired of kind of hearing Max Kellerman, allude to the conditioning of David Lemieux. Once again, trying to, put that narrative out there, trying to, tell a story that really wasn't there. Try to really put things out there and make points that really weren't valid. Until the guy really shows fatigue, don't just assume he's going to get tired because, he rehydrated up to 177 pounds. What is it, 187? What was it, 177 pounds or 180? What was his rehydration weight last night? Was it 177? And I think Curtis Stevens was like 173 or whatever. I can't remember the exact weights, but just because the guy put on.
So you're right.
Just because, yeah. And in today's day and age of boxing, this is nothing new. Canelo fighting at 154, rehydrating up to 170, 172-ish. So, this is more of a science now. On the surface, you say to yourself, this isn't really healthy. But the way these guys do it now, the way sports medicine is, and I'm not going to go into the other things that these guys are doing to do what they need to do, but it's a different day in sports today, and this is the norm. So just because the guy looks a little bit, bloated, looked like he was carrying some water weight to him, doesn't mean he was carrying fat and flab. It doesn't mean that he was eating cheeseburgers and ice cream sundaes throughout the course of the camp, like Max Kellerman was kind of trying to indicate, because I don't think that was the case. And Roy Jones smartly corrected Max Kellerman and saying, hey, I know the trainer he trained with, so he's in shape. But all in all, I thought David Lemieux looked very devastating last night. I mean, that was a vicious one-punch knockout. And, you could talk about Gennady Golovkin being a power puncher, but we've really never seen him one punch start someone, put him to sleep. David Lemieux, that was a one-hitter quitter. We don't see that very often in this middleweight division. We saw it with Danny Jacobs against Peter Quillen, but Gennady Golovkin's the type of guy who's been wearing guys down and more or less, beating these guys into submission, where that was just a boom, a one and done, and he was out of there. So, wow, what else can you really say? That was a very impressive performance, and I think David Lemieux, if he can continue to do this and be that bigger guy and be able to utilize, that size like he did last night, because he pushed back a pretty strong middleweight in his own right in Curtis Stevens. He kind of bullied him around the ring a little bit. He seemed to be the ring general and the guy who was imposing his will. So, I don't like to see guys do this continuously, but if he could do this maybe 2 or 3 more times and maybe get that Canelo fight, get that Billy Joe Saunders fight, then why not? But, if this goes on for a year or so, I think maybe eventually he's going to have to move up to 168, but maybe 2 or 3 more fights he can do this, possibly.
Yeah, I think so. And I think you brought up a good point. I mean, that power, my God. It's like you said, Triple G doesn't – I'm not going to say he doesn't have that, because he's a strong guy. He's a big guy. But Lemieux can clip you and put you out. Like disconnection, and with Triple G, you see more of a wear down and just breaking somebody's will, whereas with what you saw last night, that was a disconnect, man. He was gone. And
well,
go ahead.
If you remember, Eric, the 2 fights between Triple G and Stevens and Triple G and Lemieux, Triple G fought different fights on both occasions. With Stevens, he wasn't afraid of Stevens' power, so he threw more punches and basically wore him down and put him away. With Lemieux, he knew that David had power like he did, so he fought a tactical, different kind of fight and still managed to, KO, stop him after 8 rounds. So
yeah, he's
that's why Triple G is the way he is. He's able to work with his opponents and figure out what's safe to do and what's safe not to do, kind of.
You know what the difference is, though? It's the way the power is set up too, and it's just the way the power is delivered. Because Stevens is more of a clubber. If you watch him punch, he's more of a clubber guy, and he kind of opens his hook up a little bit wider. Whereas David Lemieux, if you saw that hook, that was like a 6-inch hook where you really couldn't, and he set it up off of a very hard right hand that more or less pushed Stevens back and actually maneuvered him into the punch, because that right hand, if you really watch that replay, he pushed him and he moved his body over with it and directed him into that little short hook, and it was just so crisp. He has that sharp, crisp, explosive power as opposed to Stevens, who's more of a clubber. And that's the difference in power. And I think that Golovkin could see pretty much all of the shots coming from Stevens. He didn't want to get clipped with something from Lemieux that maybe he possibly couldn't see. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't be, he could prepare himself. If you watch Triple G when he's on defense a lot, people say, oh, he's letting the guy hit him. No, he's not really letting the guy hit him. He's rolling shots. And he's probably saying to himself, I got to be careful with Lemieux, because if I don't time these punches properly, because this guy's got some pretty explosive, quick hands. If I don't time this guy properly and I, play that game of Russian roulette with this guy, I can get clipped and I can get put out. Whereas with Stevens, he didn't have that same type of fear, in my opinion.
I'm watching it again as we're talking about it here. I'm watching that clip, and he came over the top with that right hand and just clipped him with that left. It was right. It doesn't get any more perfect than that. That was a perfect shot. That was just cold execution, man. Yeah, you don't get any better than that.
That's right up there for knockout of the year so far.
Wow. Oh, ooh, man, that was crazy. And then, so, and I caught the knockout, and because I had a bunch of fights to watch, so I'm watching them, So I caught the knockout, and that's it. I didn't realize that he was in that much. That he didn't. So you guys tell me, because I didn't watch the entire telecast. Like I said, I watched the fight. When I saw him get knocked out, that was it, and I move on. I didn't really listen to any post-fight or anything like that. So what happened? Did he not get up or what? Because I heard Next thing I heard, he got sent to the hospital for precaution, and that he was up and talking. He was conscious. What did they take him out? Did they stretcher him out? What happened?
Took him out in a stretcher. They
stretchered him out.
Yeah, and he could. The thing was this though.
And
the thing about that punch, as I said, was it was. He just. I didn't even see it in real time. I had to actually watch. It was such a short, crisp, such a sneaky punch that even I didn't see it. I had to watch it on the replay. So that's the thing. Like, he had no idea that left hook was coming. So he had, like I said, a lot of times a fighter can see it at the end, and you'll see the guy kind of wince a little bit, or he'll brace himself. This was like, he was totally open for the shot. He had, no idea what was coming at him. He couldn't, in the slightest bit, prepare for the shot. That's what made the punch so devastating, because it's always, as you hear many times in the sport of boxing, those punches you don't see. And I didn't see it the first time, so imagine him in real time seeing it. I couldn't see it in real time, so him being right there, he probably couldn't see it either. And I'm on the outside looking in, and I couldn't see it. That's how out of nowhere and sneaky the punch was. It was amazing.
It was such a perfect combination. Just looking at it again, man, it's just a perfect combination. Pitch. That's how you teach it in the gym. That's how it's supposed to look, and that's how it looked, man. And I tell you what, man, it put him away. That was rough. Go ahead, Robert. I'm sorry.
That reminded, when I seen that in real time, and then I seen the replay, it reminded me of Juan Manuel Marquez, what he did to Manny Pacquiao the fourth time they fought. He had fought him so many rounds, and he figured out his timing so well. It was absolutely his perfect setup for Marquez to do what he did. And that's the kind of thing that Lemieux did last night. Within 2 rounds, he figured, okay, this is what I can do with this guy. And when he had the opportunity, it opened up just like a can opener, man, and he took the shot, and there was nothing Stevens could do.
Yeah, Peter Washington in the chat said, I thought it was the right hand at first. I did too, man. I thought it was a right.
I absolutely thought it was too, because that was the only punch I could see landing. I couldn't see that left hook land.
That was a solid shot right there. And then he got clocked at that left, boy. It was like, wow. That was vicious, boy.
Absolutely.
Vicious. Let's talk about this before we even move on here. So what do you think is next for Lemieux? You think he moves up to 168? Somebody in the chat just said they thought that him and Chris Eubank Jr. would be a good fight. I think that's a dynamite fight, man. That's a great fight right there.
What about him?
I would love to see.
What about him versus Gilberto Ramirez? What a war that would be. That's another, that would be an awesome fight. Him versus James DeGale. Him versus James DeGale. Winnable fights for him.
That's a fight that's easily made, because all Lemieux would have to do is move up to 168, and he could go after Ramirez's title. So there you go.
Yeah, I think, man, I tell you what, I think there's a lot better fights for Lemieux if he moves up in weight. I think so. And to your point about his weight again, man, and yeah, I agree with you 100%. I always thought it was from, he looked flabby. To me, he looked a little flabby, and it wasn't a product of him overeating or not making the weight. It's a product of him hydrating too much. And that's what happens when you hydrate. You're 100% on that. Yeah.
Not to belabor the point, Eric, but the difference is because I've seen guys in the gym, and I've kind of see guys when they make body transformations. And the thing was when you see a guy who's flabby, when he moves, you could see things jiggle. You know what I'm saying? He didn't like he was still solid. He was just looked like he was retaining a lot of water. It was just water weight. And I guarantee you, when he woke up this morning, he probably lost about 6 pounds of water just from getting all, because again, he just shoveled so much nutrients and fluids into his body in such a short period of time, and he couldn't push it all through his system. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. And that's a product of having to starve yourself to make weight, because you're trying to put all those nutrients and electrolytes back in your body because you depleted your body so bad. So even if he goes up to 168 and he doesn't have to kind of do some of these crazy things that he did last night in terms of rehydrating, he'll probably be in even better shape taking the weight off slower and not having to gorge himself and basically put all that stuff back in the system in such a short period of time. So from a physical standpoint, I think it may be even better for him long term to move up to 168.
Should they stop all this nonsense about the day before and put the weigh on the day of?
I've always said that. Like people sit there and say, "Oh, for the safety of the fighters," but it opens up a whole new can of worms, because then you got these guys who are starving themselves,
right?
And then they're gorging in such a short period of time. And that's not good for your heart. It's not good for your heart. That's not good for your heart.
Yeah, I mean, it also puts the fight in jeopardy too. And I mean, more from him, like you look at the MMA or whatever over there, and you got guys missing weight. You had a guy, Khabib Nurmagomedov, was supposed to be in a big fight last week against Tony Ferguson in the UFC, and he didn't make weight. I heard he's like 6 pounds over. And I mean, they're trying.
Well, if you remember, I don't know. I don't know if you heard this, but the IBF's policy where they have to weigh in the following day. I believe at 9 o'clock.
And I heard he skipped it. I heard he skipped it.
Yeah, he skipped it.
Yeah. How is that? How was he able to fight?
Well, I guess maybe one of those titles wasn't on the line, because there was a couple of those lower level titles like the Intercontinental or something like that, or NABF or whatever the title. I think it's the NABF for the IBF. I'm not so sure that the IBF NABF title was on the line for the fight. I have to go back and check that. But yeah, he skipped out on their weigh-in, which you have to be within 10 pounds of the weight class the day after. So I don't know. I don't know. Pretty interesting.
That was an exciting fight.
That's the thing.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. And another thing too, just to kind of finish off with the point of these next day weigh-ins, because you got a guy in a lot of cases, like when you remember that Joey Gamach situation when he fought Arturo Gatti, and Arturo Gatti, I think it was for a 140-pound fight. Arturo Gatti, I think, was like 170-something pounds.
That's crazy.
The following day, and Gamach was like 147, 148-ish.
Smaller, yeah.
And he's virtually given up. Yeah, he's virtually given up like 28 to 30 pounds to this guy. So, that's not fair either. So, you think you solve one problem with the rehydration, not these guys, getting that cerebral spinal fluid in the brain, not suffering from head trauma because they're properly rehydrated the next day. But you also open up other cans of worms where you have these unfair weight advantages, number one. And then again, it's not healthy to do that. It's not good for your heart. So after a while, these guys are putting a lot of stress on their body, and they're having these gigantic weight fluctuations that will catch up with the person after time as well. So, you solve one problem, and then you create another problem in the process. So I don't know. I would like to see the same day weigh-ins back. I really would.
I think so too, man. I think they do the same thing in college wrestling. They do the same thing, in a lot of other sports. I think that's probably the way to go, honestly. So
I agree.
We go from an exciting fight to a not so exciting fight. Yoriokas Gamboa was back at it again against Rene Alvarado. I actually fell asleep during this fight. Not lying, man. I actually fell asleep. I end up I saw the fight, but later on, because I had taped it, and it wasn't exciting at all to me, man. Gamboa won a unanimous decision, 97-92, 97-92, and 97-93. That's pretty much what I got, man. Does anybody else have anything to add to this fight? I mean,
it was very uneventful. It was very uneventful.
Very much.
It was
rusty. He looked, and he was in control. There was a flash knockdown in the last round, but I don't know, man. It was left a lot to be desired. I was actually surprised that they put this fight on the undercard.
The one that got knocked down in the last round.
Right. I was surprised that they put this fight on there. You know what I mean? That was rough, man. Why would you put this fight on there with Lemieux and Stevens? Why not put another action fight, instead of this one?
This just goes to show why HBO doesn't have many boxing dates.
Wow.
Enough said.
Hating on HBO. All right.
And Oscar, tear up that damn contract. He ain't worth promoting.
Oh, this guy's livelihood. He's trying to eat. He's got kids too. He's got a family. What's the matter with you?
Well, go promote somewhere where we don't have to see you on TV.
Oh, he said the local fairgrounds. All right. All right, let's move ahead here. Across the pond in Germany, Jack Golden Culcay versus Demetrius Andrade. Andrade just got past WBA junior middleweight champion Jack Culcay via 12-round split decision on Saturday night in Germany. Andrade was so much bigger than this guy, and I saw this at the press conference, and I just thought to myself, my God, this guy, he's going to get rid of this guy early. Didn't really work out that way, man. I thought Andrade won the fight, but he definitely had his hands full. I didn't actually score it, but it looked to me like Andrade won the fight. Culcay was no pushover, man, for sure. Is Andrade the best junior middleweight in the division, as everybody's been claiming? I tell you what, not based on that performance.
No.
Scores were 116, 112 twice for Andrade and 115, 113 for Culcay. A lot of people had Culcay winning this fight. Beeb, did you get a chance to see this fight at all?
I did see this fight, and this was an 8-4, 7-5 type fight for Andrade. But the thing was this: some of these rounds were interesting because, for whatever reason, Andrade did not try to fight this fight from the outside. He engaged on the inside. Maybe he underestimated Culcay's, I don't know, his aggression and determination. Maybe he thought that, he could hit Culcay with some shots inside and slow him up. But Culcay was walking through his shots. He kept coming forward. And, when Andrade did measure him from the outside, he was landing some good, long, straight left hands. But I don't want to take anything away from Culcay, but it seemed as though Andrade's jab was kind of MIA for a great deal of time in this fight last night, because he would throw one or two of them, and then he would just kind of put it back in his pocket. And as soon as Culcay got close to him, he would grit his teeth, bend his knees a little bit, and he would try to have this phone booth type war with Culcay. And I didn't see the reasoning behind it. I didn't think that was his best game. I mean, I thought he should have tried to keep the fight more on the outside, and if Culcay got close, maybe tie him up, lean on him a little bit, walk him back, push him off, and then kind of create that space and continue to fight him from the outside. But that wasn't the case. He seemed very content on fighting this fight up close, and that's why this fight was closer than it had to be. And a lot of these rounds, I really can't see anyone giving Culcay the decision, but I could see maybe a 7-5. And again, this was a fight where you would be hard pressed to think Culcay would win 2 or 3 rounds, and it's fair enough to say that possibly he won 5 rounds, and on one judge's scorecard he won 7, which was a stretch in my opinion. But this fight was closer than I expected it would be, and that was a surprise to me, to be quite honest.
Was this a question of better Culcay or bad Andrade, or is he just overrated?
I've seen Andrade fight better than this. I don't know. The thing about Andrade sometimes is he seems to be complacent in there. And even against Vanes Martirosyan, when he got knocked down in that first round, there was a lapse of complacency there. And when he's on and when he's fighting really sharp, it's hard to touch this guy. It really is. So I think that maybe he underestimated Culcay just a bit. Because, again, there's not much tape out there on Culcay, at least to my knowledge. I could be wrong. Some other people who have been following him, I haven't seen much footage on him. I don't know a ton about him. So maybe Andrade didn't either. And sometimes, when you don't hear about a guy, you don't really think how good he is, or you may dismiss him as not being that good just because you don't know who he is or you haven't heard of him. And, if you let your guard down just a bit in this game, things like what happened last night could happen, and the fight could be tougher than you think. So that could be a possibility.
It's tough. It's tough to fight overseas, man. Just like it's tough for them to come over here and win. It's tough, man. But hey, hats off to Andrade. He did what he was supposed to do. Maybe it was just a bad night for him. Tough guy, bad night. Hey, and not in your hometown. I mean, to go over there and win, hey, that's something pretty good. So there it is. Let's talk about the ShoBox card. We had Claressa Shields versus Sylvia Zabados. Tell you what, man, Claressa Shields stopped Sylvia Zabados in the 4th round on ShoBox. Shields look good, man, but honestly, it's difficult. It's real difficult when you have somebody like Katie Taylor out there. Taylor, to me, set the bar on women's boxing right now. She is so talented, man. Watching Shields, I just don't get that same warm, fuzzy feeling. No, not that one, the boxing feeling here. She looks exhausted by the fourth round. I'm speaking of Shields now. She looked very flat-footed to me. She won, and that's a good thing, but honestly, I think the jury is still out. When I watch Katie Taylor fight, man, I'll tell you, she looks great. She looks like a fighter. Everything she throws is textbook, man. She's straight. All the punches are sharp and crisp and everything like that. Just textbook. When I see Claressa, man, she just looks kind of sloppy out there. I'm sorry, but she does, man. I don't know if it's that style that she hasn't made a transfer over. I don't know. But there's something about the way she fights that I just don't like. And she was gassed in that fourth round. She looked gassed to me in that fourth round when she hit her with those shots and ultimately took her out. But she was very flat-footed, not moving much. I don't know, man. Beeb, what were your thoughts on Claressa in this one?
I was not impressed at all. And again, there's so much hype going behind this young lady. And, I give her all the credit in the world. She won 2 gold medals. But I'll say one thing last night, or actually it was Friday night, excuse me, that I noticed. And a lot of those punches she's throwing, they're arm punches. She's really not getting leverage on them. She's not bending her knees at all. She's not digging that toe into the canvas, and she's not really sitting down and digging in with these shots. And that's why when you land so many shots so flush like that, and you can't even knock your opponent down or even stagger them, that's a problem. That's a serious problem. And she seems a little bit too full of herself right now, and she really hasn't done anything yet. I mean, if you want to rest your laurels on those gold medals, all well and good. Huge accomplishment. Yeah. But again, you got to perform at this level. And, when you go back to the days of Christy Martin, Layla Ali, and Lucia Riker, who I was a huge fan of Lucia Riker because she just really looked really sharp, really technical. She was a really, really skilled fighter. Layla Ali, she didn't always fight the best opposition, but she looked like she knew how to fight, knew how to box. Claressa Shields just, to me, doesn't have the basics down. She's just kind of throws a tic-tac jab out there, a little pushing jab. The hook is kind of a slapping punch, as I said. And she just looks too excited, too excited, because once this level of opposition starts to get better and you're fighting the way you fought the other night, there's going to be some issues for you. So, yeah. The thing is, it's almost going to be like Ronda Rousey, because when Ronda Rousey first came on the scene, there really wasn't a ton of exceptional fighters out there. And then as time went on, fighters started getting better. And then you saw what happened to Ronda Rousey. I could very definitely well see the same thing happening to Claressa Shields. And even Steve Farhood, and even, Raul Marquez, who I was surprised. They were sitting there really with the pom-poms on Friday night. And, maybe I'm just being a little tough on her. I'm trying not to be, but I was not really exceptionally impressed at all. I was not overly impressed at all. I have to be quite honest with you.
She's fought twice, and I have not been impressed with her either time. Champ Ross in the chat just said they got to find a better suitable opponent. No, they don't. I mean, there was
not yet. Not yet. You put her in a live body now, she's gonna get hurt.
Pump the brakes, son. Yeah, you put a live body in front of her, she's gonna have a problem, man. And what do you do about this? You've got a pedigree, and the other thing too is, like you said, man, she's got this air about her that all of a sudden that she's a lot of bravado, a lot of Conor McGregor, I guess. I'm the best out there. A lot of Floyd Mayweather maybe in her, that she's the best and this and that. Look, man, I mean, I guess, whatever, but I mean, you really haven't done much. I mean, again, you're going to hang your head on those Olympic medals, which is a tremendous accomplishment.
Yeah.
You can make an argument that she's the best amateur fighter in history. You could absolutely make that argument.
I don't know. I mean, it's
for the United,
maybe, I don't know.
I mean, you can make that.
Yeah, well,
you can make that argument.
Yeah.
To
To be fair, I haven't really followed, female Olympic boxing closely enough to really make that determination. So
right, I'm just saying
maybe I'm the wrong.
The argument.
Yeah.
I'm just saying she could be in the argument.
Yeah, but this
Robert,
is the thing.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, one last point. The thing is there's not much out there. So again, like Ronda Rousey, she can get lulled into that false sense of security. And if she's already, they asked her, what do you have to work on? And she answered like, maybe I need to worry about her headbutting me. That doesn't really sound as like you have anything technically that you want to improve on. So if you already think you're there right now and you don't think you have to get better, and then this is the best that you have to offer, and you're happy with that, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fights down the road, if this is what you're going to bring, then you better hope that someone doesn't emerge that really can fight, because you're going to be in trouble.
I agree. Robert, we're piling on Claressa Shields. What was your assessment of this fight?
First of all, I've seen both fights. Okay? I got to see the fight before the pay-per-view, before Ward fought Kovalev, and I saw this fight. I didn't like either one. Frankly, how can you get interested? And look, you can pile on me if you want to, but how can you get into somebody that only fights 2 minutes a round?
I mean,
if you're gonna look, follow me along here. If you're gonna do professional boxing, why do you cut a full minute off of what the rest of the people have to do? I mean, if you want to really be up there and you want to be considered one of the best, it should be a level playing field. You hear women all the time, talk about in other walks of life how things are not equal. Well, okay, in professional boxing, we could make things equal. Now I've heard an awful lot about Katie Taylor. The only time I ever see her is when they show fights from the UK and she's sitting at ringside. Now, I don't know, because they're in different weight classes, whether that could be something down the road that they could actually put together. But it sounds like to me she needs an attitude adjustment, because a couple of weeks before this fight, if you remember the last Showtime card, they interviewed her to promote the fight, and she pulled out her gold medals right there on TV, and she says, basically saying, I'm better than anybody else. If you don't think I am, you need to come and prove it to me. She's reminding me an awful lot about Floyd Mayweather. Maybe Floyd ought to hook up with her in some form or fashion. Oh. I was not impressed at all. Make it 3 minutes around, and then I might be impressed. That's just my opinion on women's boxing.
Wow. Robbie went full-blown sexist there. Love it. Love it.
Well, think about this, Eric, though. It's only 2 minutes, and she's gassing with 2-minute rounds.
8 minutes. 8 minutes of action, and there she was gassed.
Yeah, that says something, man. That says something.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Robbie on this one. Not about being a sexist, but I think that, I think they should be 3-minute rounds. I don't understand why they are 2-minute rounds. They're 2 minutes. They used to be 2 minutes in the amateurs. I know that. But I don't know why they're not 3 minutes in the pros. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, even men's in the amateurs are 3 minutes, aren't they? Aren't they still 3 minutes? Or do they check?
Yeah, yep, they sure the hell are.
Yeah, I mean, so
they sure the hell are.
Yeah, I don't quite get that, honestly. But so I do agree with Robbie on that. As far as women being barefoot in the kitchen, I don't really agree with that, Robert. But I think that Shields.
I didn't say that, Eric.
Yeah, you did. You were thinking it. You were. But yeah, I'm kind of with you on Shields too. But I think, in her defense, though, in her defense, as far as pulling her medals out on TV and stuff like that, I think that honestly, listen, nobody carries around their medals. Nobody does that. I would be shocked. Let's say that. I'll be shocked if she just carried around her medals and said, hey, this is, who I am, that would be pretty shocking. I imagine it was a PR thing. She bragged
about it on Showtime.
I imagine it was a PR thing. She
bragged about it on Showtime. Give me a break.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I think, like I said, with 2 minutes, I would like to see him go up to 3. But hey, she's having a rough time having 2 minutes around, so I don't know. I think, to me, man.
Well, hey, if you're gonna be a pro,
yeah, I agree.
If you're gonna be a pro, do it right.
She looked really good in the amateurs. But Beeb, is this a case of her style just not translating, or her just not making those adjustments?
Well, again, in the amateurs, it's a different ball game. It's all about that pat type game here, and in the pros, without the headgear on, you're gonna have to, we need to see some significant blows here, and I don't know, it just doesn't look like that she's really putting leverage on these shots. There's not a lot of snap on these punches. They look like arm punches to me. They really do. I'm just being honest.
Yeah,
and you can't sit there and say, well, that's how girls punch, because no, that's not how Lucia Rica punches. That's not how Layla Ali punched. Even Christy Martin put some snap behind her shots. I mean, they didn't throw arm punches.
I tell you what, Champ Ross is in the chat, and he says if they match up Shields versus the right competition, she could make something of it. Fighting, let's see here, fighting Zabados of the world isn't going to impress anyone. I disagree. Look, if fighting people like Zabados and the first girl she fought, I was surprised. I mean, she should have taken those girls out early, if that was the case. I mean, look, Katie Taylor's doing the same thing. She's taking people out.
But with all due respect, if you looked at her opponent on Friday night, this was someone that really was totally devoid of any skill.
Right.
And she was sitting there with her head in the air, basically saying, come on and punch me. And she's just standing there. And it's like she was getting free shots at this woman. And she really wasn't even putting a dent in her. Oh, yeah, her head was moving a little bit here and there, but like she wasn't moving this girl. And I was in shock. I'm sitting there saying to myself, wow, this girl's just like, she has no defense. It's basically was like punching bag. I hate to say that about any fighter in the ring. But to be quite frank, that's what it was. This woman could not defend herself at all. And she couldn't really hurt her. That's kind of scary. Even Hector Camacho, even guys, that aren't huge punchers, fighters that aren't huge punchers, when they first come up and they're fighting someone who's significantly lesser skilled than them, they get them out of there. Like this girl probably would have went the distance. And if you're hitting someone, like I said, so flush like that, and you can't do anything with her, that's kind of shocking. That's shocking.
I agree. All right, and that was a ShowBox card. There was a couple other fights on that card, but nothing, no real top names, I didn't think. Decent card overall, but it kind of was what it was. It's kind of the ShowBox, next generation type of card, So there you go. All right. Let's move ahead here to the upcoming fights. All right, March 14th. I believe that's Tuesday, right, Robert?
Yes.
Right.
All right, Robert, you're slow today. Come on, man. Snap into it. Let's get in the game. You're my savant here from Tunica, Mississippi. PBC.
No, that's right.
On FS1. Right. Sergey Derevyanchenko versus Kamal Russell, 10 rounds middleweights. And Ahmed Elbiali back in action versus Jackson Jr., 8 rounds, light heavyweights. From Cincinnati, Ohio, the only reason to watch the March 14th card, Cincinnati's own Jamonte Clark will face Geku Takashi, 8 rounds welterweights. And Cincinnati going to have a banner week next week in the NCAA tournaments on Tuesday. We're going to see Jamonte Clark bring home a winner. Unbelievable. It's a week, Cincinnati, baby. All right. And then Friday, March 17th. From Reading, Pennsylvania, PBC on Bounce TV, Travis Kaufman versus Amir Mansour, 12 rounds heavyweights. And Edner Cherry versus Omar Douglas, 10 rounds lightweights. And then Kermit Cintron is actually on this card versus David Grayton, 10 rounds welterweights. Steve USS Cunningham is also on the card, 8 rounds cruiserweights. Wow. Against the dreaded TBA. So there it is. Let's stay here for a second here. What do you think about Amir Mansour versus Travis Kaufman?
Interesting fight.
You know what? That'll be that'll be a decent heavyweight fight, Eric.
I think so too.
You know, they both did well against Chris Algieri. They both lost, but I think Mansour also fought Brazil and did pretty well before he lost. No, this is a decent fight, man. Sorry it's on Bounce TV, but, you know, hey, it is what it is.
Bounce TV, baby. It's where it's at. It's where the big fights happen, son. All right. So
All right.
I've got Amir Mansour in this. You've got Amir Mansour. Is that right, Robert?
That's correct.
What about you, Beeb? Who you got?
I'm going with Kaufman. This guy's in shape. This guy can fight very well behind the jab, keep the fight at a distance. If he doesn't let Mansour in, and if he ties him up, and he's a pretty strong guy too. I thought Kaufman got a bad decision against Chris Arreola. I thought he won the fight, and I thought he showed that he can fight a little bit, and he also showed that he had some strength and conditioning to him. So
did you say Algieri, Robert? Did you say Algieri?
Yeah, he meant Arreola, though. I know he meant Arreola.
I might have
because I'm like, as soon as you said that, I'm like, what? And
he meant Arreola.
I'm trying to think of.
I knew what you meant, Robbie. I give you a pass. I knew what you meant.
Yeah, and it's like I was like, and I saw somebody say it in the chat. And I'm like, yeah, did he say that? And as soon as he said Arreola, I'm like, that's what he meant. I was like, that's what he meant.
Yeah, that's what he meant.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I meant Arreola.
These check kill you, boy. You make one little mistake, boy, they're all over it. They're all over it, son.
Yeah, plus Mansour's getting old too.
Thanks to people in the chat for being here every week. That's awesome.
Wow, look at Robert taking the high road. I just call them savages, man. They're just so mean. Savages. Picking on Ringside Robert.
Yeah, don't forget, guys, that Mansour is 44 years old too. He's starting to slow down.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
As far as the future goes in the heavyweight division, Kaufman may have a brighter one, but that's going to be a fun fight.
Yeah, Mansour can hit, man. That guy, God, he can hit. Jesus. And from New York on Unimas, Michael Conlon versus Tim Ibarra, 6 rounds featherweights. And Julian Rodriguez versus Jonathan Chicas, 8 rounds, junior welterweights. Let's see what else here.
That's his pro debut, by the way.
And at Nashville, and our one of our writers, we're going to send to this card here. Austin DeLay versus Micah Branch. Micah Branch is from Cincinnati, I believe. 6 rounds, junior lightweights. And Edwin Reyes versus Richard Hernandez, 8 rounds, junior flyweights. So that should be pretty good. And then March 18th, the big one from New York City. Madison Square Garden, Triple G, Gennady Golovkin versus Daniel Jacobs, 12 rounds for Golovkin's WBA, WBC, IBF middleweight titles. Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez versus Sriskat Sorungvise, 12 rounds for Gonzalez's WBC bantamweight title. Carlos Cuadras also on the card versus David Carmona, 10 rounds junior bantamweights. Ryan Martin versus Bryant Cruz, that's going to be a good fight, 10 rounds lightweights. Andy Lee also on the card one day after St. Patty's Day versus Keandre Leatherwood, 8 rounds middleweight. Surprising he's fighting an 8-rounder. So, that's surprising that he's fighting an 8-rounder.
Yeah, that is surprising.
Yeah. Let's see here. Robert Stiglitz, and in Germany, you'll have to stream this one. Robert Stiglitz versus Nikola Jekloka, 12 rounds for Stiglitz' European light heavyweight title. Erkan Tepper versus Marius Walk, 10 rounds heavyweights. Let's see here. We're going to go ahead here, and that's going to be it for the weekend. So let's, that being said, let's stay on the Triple G versus Daniel Jacobs fight, okay? So let's talk about that for a minute here. What are your thoughts on Triple G versus Daniel Jacobs? Robert, what do you think? I mean, do you think that Jacobs just wins this fight outright? Do you think that he stops him? Does his winning streak continue?
Hell no. Hell no. This is going to be, even when we interviewed Tom Loeffler, I was surprised when he said this. He said, well, I'm not worried about the fight going to distance because somebody's going to get knocked out. And yes, it's set up to be an action-packed fight. But as I discussed earlier, when Triple G has respect for an opponent, he fights a different game plan. So I don't expect a Curtis Stevens, David Lemieux kind of fight like we had last night, where they're both going to go out and start slugging one another. I expect this to be a tactical fight. Will it end in a knockout? Yeah. But I don't think it's going to end early. I think we're going to get our money's worth. I think it's going to be a competitive fight, but I think Golovkin's going to have the kind of game plan that will make the fight go a few rounds, and it'll be the same kind of fight that Golovkin had with Lemieux. You might have some different wrinkles, but this is not going to be the slugfest that they're promoting this to be. Yes, there's a streak of 23-12, 35 consecutive knockouts, between the two of them. But I don't think it's going to end early. I think it's going to be a competitive fight. If anybody wins this, it's going to be by late stoppage. I don't see this going to the cards, but I don't see it ending early. And I'm going with my man all day long, Triple G, 24 in a row, baby.
Wow, look at Robert, man. Robert. I tell you what, man, Triple G has a tendency to take people out but the thing that concerns me is his defense. It really does. But again, man, when he fought like guys like David Lemieux, like those heavy hitters like that, he's got a tendency to come in and game plan. And he doesn't have that one shot. At least I think he's got the one shot power. He doesn't display the one shot power like we're used to seeing, like from Lemieux and that kind of thing. But I tell you what, man, I think that, I think there's too many things riding on this, man. I think this in Jacobs' hometown, right there in Madison Square Garden, and Jacobs has got power. And I think he's been just disrespected throughout the whole thing because I don't think anybody gives him a shot against this guy. I don't think anybody gives Jacobs a shot against this guy. And I tell you what, I think that Jacobs has enough power to end this fight. I think he can put Triple G away with his power. We all kind of underestimated him against Peter Quillin. And, listen, man, I think he's got a style. I think he's faster. I think he moves better. I think this is the best opponent that Triple G has faced in a long, long time. I think this is probably his best opponent ever. Tom Loeffler copped to that also, that this is the toughest opponent Triple G has ever faced. I think he's got the power. I think it's his night. I mean, how can you root against this guy, man? He beat cancer. He's coming back. Listen, man, my pick, Danny Jacobs in an upset, 12 rounds decision.
We just interviewed Tom Loeffler, and you're being disrespectful to the best fighter on the planet. How dare you? How dare you? Come on, Beeb, you're good at breaking down fights. Give us your take.
Robbie, you're not going to be happy right now.
Oh!
I've always given Triple G a lot of credit. And, this fight is very interesting. This fight basically is somewhat a fight for legitimacy, somewhat for both guys. Now, I want to say Danny Jacobs got a little bit of legitimacy when he knocked out Peter Quillin in one round in emphatic fashion. Shocker. But this is the thing. I've always said that Triple G is dangerous from anywhere in that ring. He can fight a little bit on the outside. He can hold his own mid-range area. But his really strong claim to fame, I think, is his inside game. Cuts the ring off beautifully. And, he gets inside deep in the pocket, and he can rip the hell out of your body and come over the top with those short hooks, short right hands over the top. But this is the thing. People look at that Kell Brook fight, and they sit there and say, Triple G really didn't take him serious. He wasn't afraid of him. He let him do this, let him do that. Well, I don't think any fighter goes in there and says, hey, you know what? I'm going to let this guy hit me tonight. I don't care. No, I think a fighter may go into a fight saying, you know what? I'm going to take some risks tonight. I'm going to fight maybe more aggressively tonight. I'm going to gamble a little bit more tonight than I normally do. But, sometimes bringing that type of attitude into the ring doesn't always pan out the way you want it to pan out for you on the night, which was the case against Kell Brook. And, as I said, the best, your safest bet when you're fighting Triple G is try to keep him on the outside. Everyone he's fought, whether they've been big or what have you, even, what's his name there? Martin Murray, kind of a pretty big middleweight. But again, he's not really an outside type fighter. He's a mid-range guy. He likes to get up somewhat close, and he's kind of a clubber. He's not really a guy who throws those long shots from the outside. Kell Brook was the only opponent who really had a really, really, really good outside game. And you saw what he did. He made the fight very interesting because from the outside, he was really landing some good shots. And Triple G was vulnerable. So if you're going to beat Triple G, you got to keep him on the outside. You got to keep him at the end of some long straight punches. Because if you let him in the wheelhouse, he's gonna eat your body alive, man. He's gonna grind you into dust. Danny Jacobs, he's a guy who can keep this fight on the outside. He is 6 feet, 73-inch reach. He's a big, strong, quick, powerful, athletic middleweight. This is the biggest middleweight that Triple G will have faced. He's probably the hardest punching middleweight Triple G will have faced. He's the quickest middleweight Triple G will have faced. So bringing all this into the ring and all this into the equation, this is going to be a tough, tough fight for Triple G. And add into that he respects Danny Jacobs' power. Danny Jacobs respects his power. This is going to be a chess match to some degree. And you're going to actually see Danny Jacobs dictate this chess match from the outside. Danny Jacobs, I think, is going to box Triple G's ears off. I think he's going to box his ears off. I think because Danny Jacobs is really quick on his feet. He's got really quick hands. I think Triple G's going to have a hard time getting past that long jab and that long right hand, number one. And number two, and also because Danny Jacobs is so quick on his feet and because he's so big and physically strong, he's not going to be able to cut off the ring as effectively against Danny Jacobs. And then when he gets inside, Daniel Jacobs wraps those big arms around him and freezes him up. He's going to have a hard time, I think, getting out of that clinch. And Danny Jacobs can release that clinch real quick and then dart out of there or step off to the side because he's so quick on his feet. I think he's going to have a hard time pinning Daniel Jacobs down. This is going to be a tough fight for Triple G. And I think Daniel Jacobs is going to win this fight by 12-round unanimous decision because I think he's going to really dictate the pace of this fight and he's going to dictate how this fight is going to be fought. He's going to be the ring general in there. He's going to keep this fight on the outside. And Kell Brook was doing very well. He was doing very well. But Daniel Jacobs brings up an excellent point. What if I'm landing those same shots Kell Brook is landing? Because he's going to land something in this fight. The question is Triple G going to laugh or is he going to maybe have a frown on his face after getting hit by these big bombs from Daniel Jacobs? That's the question. I think he's going to have a frown. Daniel Jacobs 12-round unanimous decision, baby. Another upset.
Right there. Now, Beeb, we just interviewed Tom Loeffler about a week ago, and then you're picking against Triple G. What's the matter with you?
Hey, listen, I'm not on the payroll, brother. I'm not on the payroll. My checks have Union Jack emblems on them. My checks have Union Jack. My checks have Matchroom on the top of them. I have Matchroom on the top of my checks with a Union Jack emblem on it. I don't work for Tom Loeffler. I don't work for Tom Loeffler.
Oh man. All right, 2 for 3. Robert, did you expect this?
I can't believe both of you guys, man. I cannot believe both of you guys. You know, but you know what? You both bring
the
up
Miracle Man. The Miracle Man.
Why, That's why when Triple G gets his hand raised in his victory, it'll be more sweeter.
All right, let's go to the phones here. 347. You're live. Talk to us. We're talking Jacobs and Daniels, man. Or Triple G and Jacobs. I'm sorry.
What's up, guys? Good night to the panelists. Beeb, Robbie, what's up, Eric?
Hey, how are you, man?
I'm good.
Who are we talking to? What's your name?
You made a good point. Nick.
Nick, okay.
Oh, hi, Nick. Yeah.
Beeb made a good point about Danny Jacobs defeating Triple G. My thing is that what I'm thinking is that Triple G spar with big guys, man. I don't understand how Don James could beat him, even though I think this is going to be an upset. This will be inspired big, strong guys in the gym, so I don't see how Jacobs can be a threat to him. Everybody who he sparred with said the guy is hitting hard. Even Peter Quinn, I saw a video on Fight Hub. Peter Quinn said that GGG, when his presence is in front of you, is strong. So my heart is with GGG, but I think Jacob is gonna bring out upset, and the way how to build this guy up and having on commercial and Jordan and all this stuff is gonna be a big shock.
Absolutely.
I don't think he's gonna knock this guy out, and they're gonna give him a
Absolutely, man. We agree.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a big shot, but I would prefer Triple G to win because he's good for boxing, and if somebody's good for boxing, I prefer it that way because he's entertaining and he's been selling out the arenas and stuff. So I think he's good for boxing, but I think Jacob is gonna upset this on Saturday night. I think Jacob's gonna upset everybody. Talk about this Lemieux fight. I think Stevenson is overrated. I always think he's overrated. He's too small for the division, and I don't think that Lemieux can beat anyone in the top welterweight, given Jacobs. Well, GG already beat him already, but I don't think he can beat any one of the top middleweight out there. What do you guys think about that?
Go ahead, Robert.
No, I honestly think it's time for David to go up to 168. I really don't think there's any other business for him to do at 160. He's not going to get a rematch against Triple G. He's not going to get a Canelo fight, and Billy Joe Saunders avoids everybody. So I really think if David wants to continue doing business, I think he needs to move up to 168. And since Lemieux and Roberto Guimaraes fight, both they fight on HBO. One works for Top Rank, one works for Golden Boy. That would be the next best fight for him. Move up to 168 and challenge Ramirez for his title. He's going to have a rather soft title defense coming up in April. He should get past that, and that'll be a perfect fight to set up for like the summertime. Have Ramirez fight Lemieux maybe in June or July, and that'll be an entertaining fight. I don't think there's any more business David Lemieux can do at 160. I think he's done there.
I think he should fight the loser of Triple G.
I got one thing to say about people who still want to talk about the ghost of Dmitry Pirog. First of all, that fight was ages ago, number one. And number two, go back and watch that fight. Danny Jacobs was getting ready to get up, and the referee put his hand on his chest and pushed him down and did not even let him get up. So that was a close fight before that punch landed.
But he was laying there like he's dead.
No, he was getting up. Go back and watch it. Go back and watch it. He was actually getting up, and the referee put his hand on Danny Jacobs' chest.
Yeah, I watched it a few times.
Go back and watch it.
On the 7th or the 8th round.
Go back and watch it, and it was in the 5th round. Go back and watch it, and look at Danny Jacobs' reaction after the fight got stopped. How angry he was. He was ready to still fight. I'm not saying he would have got up and won the fight. He could have still been hurt, whatever. But he wanted to get up. It wasn't like he was out cold. He was getting ready to get up. Go back and watch it. The ref put his hand right on Danny Jacobs' chest, and he pushed him down. He didn't let him get up. Go back and watch it. So I think people put too much stock into that. They're like, oh, Danny Jacobs got no chin. Come on, man. Happened one time, and we still don't know if he could have continued or not, in my opinion.
So if GGG won this, if he win this fight, so he gonna be the best middleweight, and you guys think he's gonna be the best middleweight out there now?
If if
I think he already is. I think he already is.
So, so why so many people know Duncan when he can beat Dan Jacobs?
Because Nick, let's be honest about it here. This is the best opponent he's ever fought. Because other guys have wanted to avoid him so badly. He's never had a chance to really fight anybody with a big name. If he wins this fight, that sets it up for him to possibly fight Saunders and get the 4th belt, and then in September he can fight Canelo, and that would be for all the marbles in the middleweight division. And if he was successful against Canelo, then nobody could say anything about who the best middleweight is. I think he already is, but he's got to go out and prove it to people.
I agree, but what I was saying, I think this boxing organization is trying to hamper Triple G. How come Charlo now becomes the mandatory for Triple G if he wins the fight? That's some BS right there. He never fought at 160.
Yeah,
How
but
is he become
Charlo,
mandatory?
well, the way it works is that if you're an existing champion and you move up in weight, you're ranked in the top 1 or 2. If you're jumping up 2 weight classes, yeah, that's how it works. If you're jumping up 2 weight classes, it's different. But if you're going from like 154 to 160, yeah, you're the mandatory. You'll be the mandatory. You may have to have a fight or whatever, but if you want to go up there and challenge for the title, you'll be up there pretty quick, and you'll be ranked real quick, especially within the organization.
Eric, so listen to what.
Go ahead.
Listen to now this question. So if he beats Dan Jacobs, they wouldn't pressure him to fight Charlo, so he won't get a shot at really the Joker. He won't get a shot at him. So unify, and I want to see this guy unify the belt.
Typically what happens is there's always step aside money. There's always exceptions. Okay. So if they mandate Charlo for the WBC title and Charlo's got to fight Triple G and they say, hey, that's your next fight. Typically when they will look past it is for a monster fight like Canelo. They'll look past it for that. The mandatory is not going to stand in the way for that fight. Okay. They'll look past it for that. The other time they'll look past the mandatory is if you're going to unify the belt. And a Billy Joe Saunders would be the unification. That at that point, they would probably look past Charlo, give him another fight or give him some step aside money or whatever the case, and let him go and fight that guy. But that's typically how it works. They're not going to hold up big fights. And especially if he goes ahead and unifies this and beats Canelo, this isn't like a Klitschko situation. It'll be more like a Mayweather situation where they're going to look to make big fights with this guy. Look at Mayweather. How often did he fight his mandatory? Not very often.
Not very often.
And he got to keep all his belts. Robert Guerrero came to mind as a mandatory he had, but like his 154-pound belts, he never defended those. He never fought a mandatory or anything like that. So once Triple G's on his way to this status, if he beats Danny Jacobs and he goes ahead and unifies those belts and sets that showdown up with Canelo, there is no mandatory for him. I mean, there'll be mandatories on paper, but they're not gonna make him live up. Not when you're bringing in so much money for the organization, because on the WBC, I mean, what do they? I mean, they charge ridiculous. I saw this on paper. They charge ridiculous amounts. Title fights.
Yeah, that's the same thing what Bradley said. He said he doesn't want to unify. Yeah, because it's too much fees.
That's the thing, man. And when he's got all the belts, I mean, that's a lot of fees. That's a lot of money coming in. And money is based on the fight too. It's not just Triple G's name on the marquee. It's who he's fighting. So a Triple G, if he defends all those belts against Canelo, yeah, that price jumps up. Versus if he's fighting against Charlo, you're going to get more money as an organization with Canelo because it's a bigger fight. And that's how they work it. So
and Canelo would
much better.
Canelo would be an absolute idiot to turn down that fight in September. I mean, come on, all 4 belts at once.
But how are you guys so sure that Canelo's going to beat Chavez? Chavez is a big guy, man.
Well,
hey, it ain't
convince me that he's going to come in shape.
Who, Chavez?
He's looking good. He's poising a lot of yeah, he's looking good.
That ain't no pushover, man. I'm telling you, I've been saying it since that fight was made. That is not a pushover fight, man. That's a solid, competitive fight, man. And I'll tell you what, man, Chavez, listen, man, I'm probably going to take Canelo in that fight. It wouldn't shock me. Put it this way. It wouldn't shock me if Chavez won that fight. Chavez is a big, strong guy who can fight. And that's what gets lost.
You have to knock Canelo down a few times.
That's what gets lost. He is a big, strong guy, man, and he can fight. He's a tough kid. Yeah, it ain't that's not a pushover fight, man, by any stretch. And if Canelo, let me tell you what, if Canelo goes out there and gets rid of him, with it before the final belt, man, that's going to be impressive to me.
Get rid of him and Jacob get rid of Triple G. Therefore, you think they're going to make a fight with that?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's where it's going. Right now, Canelo, let's be realistic. I mean, if Canelo's the money guy in that 150, that Canelo weight division and the 160-pound division, Canelo's the money guy. Nobody's going to garner more money than Canelo will. Not Triple G, not anybody else. So until somebody takes him, but Triple G's right on his heels. But nobody wants to fight him. But Canelo, make no mistake, is the money guy. That's the one that people will pay to see. He's the A side of any fight he'll go in.
So two you guys picking Jacobs. Robbie, you going with Triple G. I'm going with Jacobs too for the upset, but I'm hoping Triple G wins because I think he's good for boxing.
Yeah.
And anyway, guys, I'm out.
All right, man. Hey, thanks for the call, man. We appreciate it.
24 in a row, man.
24
in a row.
Look at Robert, man.
That's where it ends, baby. That's where it ends.
Oh, wow.
We'll see when it comes to next show, brothers.
There you go. There it is, man. All right, area code 405. You're live.
Santos, Oklahoma.
Santos, what's up, baby?
Not much.
What's up? So what do you?
I can't believe you're being so disrespectful to Mr. Tom Lawson. He took time out of his day to give you an interview.
I wasn't there.
Hey, we
wasn't even there.
We took time out of our day.
Hey,
I wasn't even there, so don't bring me into this.
These two guys are ripping the best middleweight on the planet, man. What can you say about that?
I did interview Tom Lawson before, but I didn't interview him. I didn't interview him recently.
I'm with you, Robbie, on this one.
Yeah. Now, Beeb, you made a statement a long time ago. You said the two fighters you would never bet against in boxing were Triple G and Andre Ward. So why in the world are you doing it now?
Get the soundbite. I don't remember. No, I did say that, but I changed my mind. I changed my mind.
Beeb, he heard me pick him. He heard me pick him. He knows I can pick him.
I was telling Eric, I did a personal beat.
Just saying.
I did a personal beat of the odds with Beeb the other night for Eric. I swear him.
Tell you too. I don't forget that.
You picked him after me.
Don't
I'm just saying.
that.
I don't want to bring that up, but you know.
No, I know. Go back and listen to the show, brother.
I'll show you the bet slips. I got Jacobs.
Anyway, go ahead, Santos. You're on the Triple G bandwagon. Go ahead. Give us what you got.
No, I was going to call about last night's fight with Lemieux. I caught that one just a little while ago. Lemieux looked pretty good. I like how he was going to his body and come back up top. And that left hook, they say don't hook over hooker, but they're both hookers, but Lemieux got there quicker and it's harder. And there's no way Golden Boy put Lemieux into Canelo. Not after that. If Lemieux would have gone 12 rounds, and barely eked it out, and not looked that great, then it would have stuck Canelo in there. But not after that, right there. They can't let Lemieux spoil that.
There it is,
but
man.
I'm with Robbie. I think he has to move up because he's not going to get Canelo, and nobody really wants to see that Triple G rematch with him. So the best option for him would be to move up.
I agree.
But on the Triple G fight,
he should move up after he loses his middleweight titles. He should try to start over in another division. I agree.
Yeah, he should.
He's going to lose his titles next week, so let's start fresh at super middleweight.
Yeah. Like Beeb has said, Jacobs could get behind that jab, but I think I think that's gonna be Golovkin try to put a Lemieux type fight and work behind the jab, and I think Jacob's gonna feel his jab. And he's gonna be like, "What the hell?" And he's gonna be on his back for kind of like how Andrade was against Sergey when he felt that jab.
So you,
Like he was kind of was on his
so
back.
you think
It's gonna happen to Jacob?
you think Golovkin is gonna out jab Danny Jacobs, the 73-inch reach?
I think once Jacob feels that power, I think he's gonna get a little gunshot. He's just gonna like be on the back foot and kind of like be afraid of to throw his stuff. But I remember back when Triple G got the Mario Murray fight. I remember when that fight was made, I was like, damn, he's about to fight Mario Murray. I think that was right after they robbed him from the Sergio Martinez fight, right?
Yeah, I think you're right on that. I think it was about because Murray fought Martinez, and then the next fight after that, he fought Triple G.
Yeah, and when that fight happened, I was like, damn, that's a good ass fight right there. But the way Triple G did Mario Murray, I don't think nobody else has ever done Murray like that, and he's a big ass guy.
No, not even close.
Martin Murray's
man.
one tough son of a bitch, man.
I had picked Martin Murray in that fight too, and he just demolished him.
Took him 11 rounds though.
Yeah, I think he took him on the 11th or 10th.
Yeah, it was around 11.
And I just don't see Jacobs taking that punishment like that, like Mario Murray. I think he gets him out there like in the 7th or 8th, breaks him down and gets him out.
The one guy.
I'm excited to see it. I think they're both. I think they're both good for the sport because the background that Jacobs has. And he seems like a real nice guy. I was watching the 24/7. He seems like a real good guy.
No, they're both good guys. It's going to be a good fight. But 24 in a row, baby.
There it is.
Yeah, and the other thing I was going to talk about is the thing that worries me about the Canelo fight in Triple G is the little Oscar De La Hoya and Eric Gomez come out and be like, well, Triple G fights in June, then we're not fighting in September because for promotional reasons or something like that. Like, it's kind of like they're trying to back out of it because Triple G wants Billy in June in Kazakhstan. But that's what the rumors are.
Yeah.
And Go to Boy kind of comes down and says, well,
I could see Eric Gomez and Oscar trying to pull something like that. But let's face it, if Canelo gets past Chavez, okay, and Triple G beats Jacobs, and then he goes and beats Saunders, who the hell could Canelo fight in September that could bring him as much money as a Triple G fight for all 4 belts? I can't see a boxer turning that down.
No, there's no way he should be able to turn that down, especially all that money he's going to get.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, man.
I mean, that'll be the biggest payday in Canelo's life. All 4 belts plus the cash plus pay-per-view buys. People will be all over that fight like white on rice.
Yeah, but that's the only reason I want to see Chavez win is because I think he's been willing to fight Triple G, but like Eric said, I think at the end I have to go with Canelo because I'm not sure what kind of shape Chavez is going to come in.
Well, they try to make that fight. They try to make that
Chavez.
fight. They try to make Triple G versus Chavez. Loeffler said it on the interview not too long ago, man.
Yeah.
He said they tried to make that fight, and Chavez
That's
was
right.
nowhere to be found, man. And he said he was willing to move up to 168 to do it. So, I mean,
that's right.
You know?
Yeah, you're right, Eric. I think Bob Arum offered him like $10 million, and he offered and after that fight, he would offer him like $5 million the next fight. So it would have been like $15 million total that Chavez would have taken, but he turned it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. Crazy. He was a lot of money too. It was a lot of money coming his way. And
I think after that, didn't even go on and fight from forward and get knocked out.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Yeah,
that is absolutely correct.
Yeah, he quit on him, I think.
And remember, people threw beer at him.
Man.
Last week I wasn't able to call in because I was trying to take like a nap before I hear your show, but I overslept and I didn't get to catch up. And I'm with Beeb. I think AJ blows Wilder out. It wouldn't even be a close fight. I think the best thing for Wilder and Al would be to fake an injury until they get that Joshua fight, for he won't lose a fight because that's gonna be his cash out right there.
No, AJ is the best heavyweight in the world, man.
I think so too, by
Best
far.
heavyweight.
Yeah, I think so too, by
Yeah,
far.
but
man.
no, man, that's all I got. I think a couple weeks ago, I was laughing real hard when I was listening to your show. I think Eric, you had Mike Tyson on.
Yeah, Mike Tyson.
the guy
Mike
who
Tyson's
becomes
in the
like Mike
chat
Tyson.
tonight too. Yeah, Mike Tyson's in the chat tonight
And
too.
I kept laughing because
That ain't no Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson was talking, and in the background you could hear Robbie be like, "That's not Mike Tyson. That's not Mike Tyson."
That ain't no Mike Tyson.
I was laughing so hard. I was like,
Sometimes
But,
sometimes
no,
Robert's
you
not
guys
privy to
have a
all
good
the
All right,
intricacies
great
of the
call,
show.
man. Thanks.
Good call, man.
Good
Awesome.
call.
Love Santos. All right, let's see here. And also, too, we got some people in there watching us on YouTube. If you're out there watching to us on YouTube or listening to us, just want to make a quick go to Beating the Odds of Beeb, subscribe to his YouTube channel. That way you can see all our videos, all our interviews, and everything like that. And if you like what we're doing now on YouTube, man, if you could just give us a thumbs up, man, that would be great. We don't ask for money or anything like that, man. The only thing we ask for is just love. That's it.
No tin cups over here, baby.
That's right.
This is not a pay-per-view broadcast, okay? We do it for free, brother.
That's right. That's right. I won't ask you to pay for my hotel on Times Square next week when I go watch the Golovkin-Jacobs fight, man. So, hey, if I'm not asking for that, hey, we just ask for likes and thumbs up, baby. That's it. That's it. So we will be in New York next week, man, to watch the big fight. All right. Area code 111. You're live. Georgie, is this you?
Hello?
Hello? You are live. Are you just listening?
Hello?
Yes. Can you hear me?
You're on. Go ahead.
I don't hear myself, but hey, this is Wood, Eric.
Wood, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, Wood, what's up?
Not much, man. Not much. Just tried to check in with you guys tonight. Ironically, my wife had some grocery shopping again, but I told her she had to go by herself.
Good move, man. Good move.
No doubt, man.
Hey, no, I've just been checking out. Right. I've just been checking out the discussion, and I'm really on the fence with the Jacobs and Golovkin fight, and that's mainly because, like you said, Eric, I could see him winning by decision and going 12, but by Jacobs having the knockout streak that he has going on, and then demolishing Quillen in the first round, I just don't know if I've seen enough of his game to think that he can stay focused the way that I think he might need to be focused against a guy like Triple G for 12 rounds. So that's kind of where I'm kind of stuck on that fight, and probably will be up until first bell.
Yeah, I think you bring up a fair point, man. You bring up a fair point, man. I think that it's tough because I mean we can sit outside all the time and say I think this will happen, I think this will happen, but again, man, does he have that focus to stay in there for 12 rounds? I mean, listen, you're in there with a killer, I mean, and they both can hit, but you're in there with a guy who's been, 23 in a row, Robert? 23 knockouts in a row?
That's correct.
Yeah.
23 in a row and 12 for Jacob. 12,
listen, man, you mess up in there and there, you're going home. You're going to sleep. It's that simple. So does he have that? I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. It's a tough thing, man. And we won't know until fight time. That's the thing.
Right. But I mean, it makes this match that intriguing, and we've all been waiting for Triple G to be really tested, and I think in listening to the interview with Loeffler last week, I think this should provide a lot of answers on a fighter like Triple G, who we just keep like Robbie there, just assuming that this guy is great, and we just don't really know.
Well, you know what? On Saturday night, we're going to find out. This is what
Robbie works for Loeffler. He's in the camp, man. Don't listen to Robbie. He's in the camp.
Yeah.
Uncle Tom Loeffler. That's right.
Oh, that's great.
He works for K2. He works for K2.
We're actually going to find out on Saturday night. All the Triple G so-called haters, well, he doesn't fight anybody. Well, okay, I want to see you say that after Saturday night's fight. Because look, I've liked what I've seen. I think he's the best in the division. And I think he's going to prove it on Saturday night. But this is going to be his biggest test by far. So, Danny Jacobs deserves to be there. And I'm glad that a deal was able to be worked out between Tom Loeffler and Al Heyman. And I even said it on the interview. I applauded Tom Loeffler for being able to pick up the phone and talk to any promoter in this sport and put this fight together.
Hopefully it's not two consecutive bad weeks for New York-based fighters. But Eric, man, what'd you think about? I went on and made the trip up to Detroit Friday night, man. I was kind of I was pleased with what I didn't really care for the main event too much, but a couple of fights on the undercard really lived up to making it worth the trip.
They were decent fights. I mean, they were decent fights, man, for sure. I mean, that what was it? I think it was the second fight of the night. And I can't remember who was in it, but it was the one where the guy in blue got knocked out, and he got hit right on the button, man, with that right hand, just right on the button. And that was a good fight. They had some good fights on there. But what did we talked about Claressa Shields earlier. What was it?
I'll go ahead.
We talked about the Claressa Shields fight earlier. And all three of us are kind of in the camp that, we look at least myself, I look at Katie Taylor and say, wow, she can really fight. She's a really good fighter. She throws punches like textbook style. Claressa seemed to be gassed at the end of that fourth round or at the beginning of that fourth round. She seemed gassed, and she just her punches don't look sharp at all. I mean, you were there in person. What did you see there versus what were your thoughts? What were your takeaways from that?
I just think Zabados just wasn't a good test for the simple fact she really couldn't put together an educated offensive game, of any kind to really fend off what was going on with Shields. Part of the reason Shields might have been looking exhausted was the fact that I think she was dealing with a lot of emotion. She was getting a lot of energy from the crowd. I think, she had a lot of expectations on her to live up to everything that Showtime, wanted the fight to be, with it being the first time for women's bout to headline the show. And I think it was a lot going on for her. I was shocked that Zabados really didn't seem to be struggling with Shields' power. I didn't see her, even once the fight was stopped. I mean, she looked really lucid, and she was complaining to Doc about stopping the fight. So I just think that Shields is going to have to show us some other tools in her tool bag to really deal with the women that have been doing it a lot longer, that have just a better looking, that wild brawling stuff. It just really isn't going to work every time in the ring.
No, not at all. I couldn't agree more. Do you think with a better class of competition she would be better, or do you think she just needs to pump the brakes and, because to me, like I said, her first two fights, she should have got rid of these guys pretty easily. And it wasn't, neither one of these fights have been, that easy for her,
Admittedly, I'm a little shabby on my women's side of the sport, so sure. I don't want to try to be an authority on it. I kind of liken what I'm seeing with her, and along kind of with what we saw with Rousey on the MMA side, is that once the other women in the field, now that you have this bright star out there that everybody, you can make some money facing her, I think it might be some women that come out of the woodwork somewhere. And I think the questions that we have for Triple G, I mean, we have a lot for Claressa, and I think it'll be interesting. I'm in to see what happens. I think she's very confident. She came out and spoke with the media after the fight. I kind of was a little put off by some of her attitude. But this is a fighter, and you have to be brash and all of that stuff. But
too much Floyd Mayweather, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's a fair assessment, and that's what I put up an article about it today, and that's kind of my thing is all of the talking and everything is great, you know, the sound bites and whatnot, but you're gonna have to back it up in the ring eventually, the way that Mayweather did for his 18 or 20 years. You know, you got to get to that. Just telling me all of this stuff really doesn't do a lot. But she did kind of let out that her team has been on the phone, you know, working the phones with different fighters and different teams and everything. And you know, certain people aren't interested in fighting her. Who knows how true that is? But I don't know. I mean, she did what she was supposed to do. She has a belt now, and we'll see what happens next.
There it is. There it is. I couldn't agree more, man. We'll see. We'll see. Which was an NABF belt, wasn't it? NABF? Is that what it was?
Yeah, NABF, yeah. Middleweight women. Yeah, NABF.
Very good, man. Very good. Hey, well, listen, while I got you on the line, man, why don't you tell everybody about your podcast? I know this is Wood. He's from Ohio, man. I run into him a lot of times at the fights and everything like that. We ran into each other. He's a member of the, the Pay Me No Mind podcast. And we run into each other all the time at the fights, man. So talk about a little bit about your podcast and tell us where we can find it.
Yeah, the podcast is called the Pay Me No Mind Show. It's just sports and entertainment. Being right up the road from Cincinnati, it kind of has evolved into being really boxing heavy. And then boxing is kind of probably my top two sports. So it's been very interesting to start getting a lot of fighters on, and being a huge fan, it's just giving me the opportunity to kind of really ask some fan questions and kind of the stuff that I don't see get addressed on the the major outlets. It's kind of giving me a chance to really dig into some of that. And but basically, I talk all sports. You know, I try to get a bunch of different guests from a bunch of different backgrounds. So I've had some musicians on, a couple other athletes, and then several fighters. So I do them bi-weekly. They're not live like you guys just yet. I post them probably every other Friday. I'm doing one this Thursday night and should have a show up. The shows can be found at podbean.com. And then also, they're also put up at on iTunes. But it's with a network of guys. It's called Talk Loud Radio if you search for it on iTunes. But it's the other two guys do wrestling and then a lot of daily fantasy sports, because the Talk Loud Radio is kind of an offshoot from the website where I write, which is called goingfor2.com, which is all daily fantasy sports. So anybody out there that does football, baseball, and basketball and fantasy sports, it's a lot of good, useful information on there to help people out. I don't play none of that stuff, but I just write about boxing there. So That's kind of everything that's going on with me. And
he's got a lot of good interviews on there, man. Every couple of weeks when he puts his podcast out, man, he's always got good stuff on there. He's always got interviews with good boxers. And what I like about him too is you take a lot of things like I said, you'll have fighters on there, but you'll also take time to interview some promoters. You'll take time to interview cornermen, managers, stuff like that. And some of the stuff that you discover out of these guys, man, that you wouldn't normally think of. You know what I mean? A lot of times you ask them questions and you're like, and you get the information out of them that you're not normally looking for. You know what I mean? It kind of surprises you. So I would suggest that everybody go out there, man. And
appreciate that.
Absolutely, man. Go out there and listen to his podcast, man. And you can find it on iTunes at Pay Me No Mind. It's the Pay Me No Mind podcast. So go ahead and download that, man. Pleasure, man. Pleasure having you on. I can't believe this, man. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, can I say one more thing?
Of course.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
This week, I just booked the Joshua Greer Jr. kid. So if you wanted the guy that did the big knockout from Friday's show, me and him are supposed to talk this week. Awesome. And then for anybody that likes hip-hop music, I might have a guy out of New York named Sky Zoo on the show this week, who's a pretty big independent underground rapper.
There it is. There it is, man. There it is. People in the chat, he said, somebody in the chat said, is this the real Wood? Let me tell you what, this is the Wood. There's no other Wood. This is the guy right here. Wood. That's him. All right, man. Well, listen, man, thanks for calling in, man. That's right.
Hey, you guys have a good
one. You too, man.
This Wood is official, baby. He's official.
Official Wood, son. That's the way it goes. That's it, man. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah, he's got a pretty good podcast, man.
He's
Like
good, man. He's entertaining.
Good guy, man. Very entertaining guy. Very
Awesome.
entertaining guy. Check him out.
Awesome guy.
All right. 508. 508. You are live. 508.
That's good. Hey, yo!
From this
happening
to be my new fool. What's up, Georgie? Who do you got for Saturday, brother?
Before we go any further, let me tell you what I like about Georgie. Because Georgie lost a bet, and he pays for it every week when he comes on here, all right? He took a pie in the face, and we play that stupid sound clip, but he's a man, all right? He comes back on. There's some people out there. Now, I'm not going to name any names because, that's not my style. I don't do that.
I feel like name dropping.
804, brother. 804.
I'm just saying.
I feel like name dropping because, oh, my God.
Georgie's a man of his word. He pays his bets, and that's what you got to respect.
804, brother. 804.
You know what I'm saying?
Listen, Beeb, you cannot get away. Beeb, you cannot get away with these travesties forever, baby. Once upon a time, you faced me. So you're going to have to regrow those balls and bet on your man Jacobs because I'm driving Triple G. So what's goody?
I'll do a pie in the face bet with Georgie on Triple G Daniel Jacobs. Pie in the face number 2, Georgie.
You picking Jacobs?
I'm picking Jacobs.
Listen, that's not going to make it to the 10th round, buddy. It's not going to happen.
Is this a bet?
Dead on arrival.
Is this a bet? This is a bet.
Yes,
Beeb, is this a bet?
I'm putting it out there. Yeah, I'm betting. I'm pie in the face.
Oh, all right. So the bet is Georgie.
Official.
Georgie taking Triple G for the win. No, it doesn't matter if he knocks him out as long as he wins the fight. Beeb taking Danny Jacobs as long as he wins the fight. That's game over. The bet.
And if it's a split decision, Daniel Jacobs. If it's a split decision,
last time, doesn't matter what the scorecard is, whatever the judges say. Like I took the setting of the stick the last time. If the judges said that Golovkin won, then Golovkin won. Jacobs won, he won.
Doesn't matter what the score is. Doesn't matter.
I don't want to hear you crying about robberies at the end of the fight. If Jacobs wins 114 to 113 and a half, I don't want to see you crying robbery at the end of the fight.
All right. So,
baby, there will be some crying with the pie. Don't get me wrong. I will do some crying if I get robbed, but I won't fucking pay anyways, But listen, let's get serious here. There ain't no way Jacobs is winning, brother. Or you can say whatever you want about Pity Quelling. What's Pity Quelling at? This is the first thing that pisses me off. Every time they say, no, but this man knocked out so-and-so. Okay, so who so-and-so be fighting? Who so-and-so be?
Who was Triple G?
How so-and-so was so great, but
Who's Triple G?
No great no more.
Who's Triple G be?
He beat up blown up welterweight. He beat up blown up welterweight in his last fight, and everybody wets their pants over it. That he beat a blown up welterweight. Man, get out of here with that.
Listen, he's fighting. He's
fought more legitimate middleweight competition than Triple G has.
He's fighting the Miracle Man, Georgie. Miracles are? Do you know what miracles are, Georgie?
No.
Even I couldn't even get away with that one, man. I'm thinking like Curtis Stevens and David Lemieux, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man.
Come on,
dude. After we seen how impressive Triple G was with Lemieux, we didn't know this man had a jab. We thought this man was all power. Everybody thought that. I always thought that. Everybody seen it. Until he faced Lemieux with that great power. I picked Lemieux because I believe on the man's power. But guess what? Fucking Triple G's all around, baby. Another shit that I seen him like, I saw Triple G giving some tips to Barrera, who's sparring Barrera. And he's showing how to hold, how to push, how to grab. And when I see all this fucking knowledge that this man knew on the inside, I know his inside game is solid. Solid. So when you say that Jacob's going to try to hold him, my dude, what's going to happen? When he tries to hold him, he's going to get caught with some shit and game over. That's what's going to happen. Watch it. Anyways, I'm doing some shit. I just want to call and support. Get this bet going for next week. And to everybody out there to support. Because like you said, you will be shit for free. So come on, people, give the thumbs up.
All right, man. Love it. Love it. Georgie, it's a bet. Love it. Thank you, sir. Unreal, man. Okay, so the bet is, like I said, man, if he comes in and Jacobs wins, and hey, Georgie's got to take the pie. Triple G wins. Hey, Beeb's got to take a pie. That's the way it is. I love it. Love it. All right. Area code 405. 405, you are live.
No, it's me, guys. I'm just listening.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. All right, let's go to 970. 970, you are live. Maybe.
Hey, what's up, guys? What's going on? How you guys doing this weekend?
What's up, man?
Not much. Hand wraps, what's up?
What's up, fellas? Damn, I'm bugging out over here. Is there two out of three picking Jacobs over Triple G on this show?
I got a feeling,
Yeah,
man.
they're nuts, aren't they?
I got a
They're
feeling.
nuts, man. They're
I
nuts.
just got a feeling, man.
They lost their minds.
Daniel Jacobs is a beast right now, man. He's in phenomenal shape.
You know, and speaking of that, did you see the weights, the 7-day weights? Have you guys seen the 7-day weights? Triple G at 162.
No, I have no.
Triple G at 162. Daniel Jacobs at 167. Bigger
Jacobs
guy.
is just a beast, man. Jacobs is a beast right now. He's eating that Chris Algeria organic food right now. He's in the best shape of his life.
Organic food.
He's eating avocados. He's eating free-range chicken. Free-range chicken. He's ready.
He's going to be competition of going against one of the best middleweight in the world, man. He said he'd never bet against him. He said it's on tape, brother. He said he'd never bet against him. What the hell is he doing? He's betting against him. He's going to lose.
Hey, listen, it's a good bet, man.
Daniel Jacobs opened my eyes. He opened my eyes.
That's a good bet. That's a good bet if you think he has a chance of winning. I think he don't have a fucking chance in the world, man. Triple G, come on, man.
He's eating egg white omelets with coconut oil, baby.
You can't beat that, man. You can't beat that. No. That alone will win you 3 rounds.
Dude, but
he's in phenomenal shape right now. This guy beat cancer. Come on.
Goodness.
Yeah, right.
Jesus
what about that?
Christ.
Yeah, what about that? Guy came back from cancer, man. You give him no depth for that. None.
Hey, listen. You know, I said this joke earlier in the chat and they wanted to torch me, but I want to say it anyway. What happens, you know, if this man dies in the ring, man?
I saw that, man. What's wrong with you?
New storyline. This man
beat cancer, but not Triple
G. A Triple G shot? What the fuck? Oh, come on, man. That's wrong.
Oh, that's jacked up.
They told this man he may never be able to walk again. And he's knocking people out now. He's knocking people out.
That's horrible.
Cold blood.
That's horrible.
I'm sorry.
Cold
I'm
blood.
sorry. I take it back. I don't mean that on anybody.
Take it back. He said it twice and he takes it back. Somebody in the chat just said if he dies. Somebody in the chat just said, hold on. Somebody in the chat just said if he dies like Draco.
This ain't gonna happen. Come on, guys. Get behind the Miracle Man. Get behind the Miracle Man. Danny Jacobs, baby. The truth. The truth.
That was bad. Come on.
That's great.
Oh my goodness, that shit was hilarious. I'm sorry. I'm not being a foul motherfucker. Eric, you're a foul motherfucker for picking fucking Jacobs. Come on, guys. And I would expect it from Beeb because, you know, he picked fucking Khan. He picked Khan over Canelo and shit like that.
I almost had that one. That was one lucky punch from Canelo. That lucky punch bailed out Canelo. He's losing every round.
Oh, come on, man. Canelo was smoking that kid. He was letting him throw them little shitty shots. All right, come on.
Man, Tom Wofford, they never answer another one of our phone calls.
I know. Yeah, he's gonna revoke my credential. He's gonna revoke my credential now, and then he's not gonna answer the calls when we call him. His secretary's he's not.
Robbie's gonna have to get another job now because K2 is gonna fire him after Triple G loses.
We love you, Tom. Please don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I love talking to the guy, man. And he won't accept my calls anymore. Thanks, Eric. This is horrible.
That's gonna be the deal, though. That's gonna be a stipulation is that only Robbie interviews him.
Hey, guys! I was gonna shit on Clarissa Shields, but Robbie's on the show, so I got to say no more. You know.
Hey, look, you can shit on her all you want. She deserves it, man. She deserves it. She's horrible.
Yeah, she was horrible. I said enough. I think I shouldn't shit on anybody or wish any more shitty shit on horrible things on anybody else.
She is fight 3 minutes around, brother. 3 minutes around. Come on. Get with it.
Hey, but women's boxing is where women's MMA is at, but a few steps behind, man. They're still in development. So
that's right.
You know,
well, you develop it by going 3 minutes around. Come on, get with it.
Yeah, man. But at least she's got a name, man. Who the fuck else has she got? Like, let me tell you who you got over Clarissa Shields right now, Robbie. Since you're such a
well, if they were in the same weight class, Katie Taylor. But they're not in the same weight class.
Okay, that Katie Taylor is not in the same weight class. What about somebody else? Who else you got?
Hell, I don't know enough about the. I don't know enough about.
I was gonna say I like Katie Taylor too, but that's it. Exactly, they're in development stages, man. Don't give her any shit. At least she's got a name out there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Okay, and she's
3
winning.
minutes
So
around. That's all I asked. 3 minutes around. Come on, enough of this 2 minute crap. I mean, we have 2 minute warnings in football.
But you had Thurman winning, right? You had Thurman winning that fight, right?
That's correct.
Okay, I think we should fight a whole 12 rounds in the bout. What do you think?
Hey, that good idea. I like it.
That was masterful.
He's world champ, right?
Come on, it was a masterful performance. That was a masterful performance by Keith Thurman.
Man, see, you guys are making me feel like shit this call, man. I know I smoked a doobie before I got on here, but now I feel like real shit. Anyways, you guys are crazy for taking Jacobs over Triple G, man. And I hope Jacobs wins because I want to ruin that Canelo Triple G party because I'm a Canelo fan. But if Triple G wins, you know, it only builds up my fight up even more after because I give Chavez no chance of beating Canelo.
Hey, look, man, I want Triple G to win because I want Canelo to actually refuse all 4 belts. I want him to actually refuse all 4 belts.
Robbie, will you put those pom-poms away, please?
Or he's going to want that 40%. You think he wants that 40% or he's going to take the 15 mil? Tell him to take the 15 mil. Why not? Chavez took it.
I got one question for Robbie.
I don't know what deal he'll take, but there's no way in hell he could turn down all 4 belts.
I got one question for Robbie.
Beat Saunders, and
that's your problem. To you, it's still about Canelo turning down the fight. That's not what this is about, man. This is about Triple G turning down the fight. Canelo's the money man. Don't forget that, man.
Yep.
I'm not going to forget that. Triple G will make
how is this about Canelo taking the fight then? Nah, this is about Triple G taking the fight, brother.
I have a feeling that Oscar and Eric Gomez are going to pull something if Triple G fights Saunders in June. That's what I'm afraid of.
This weekend or last weekend, I don't know. I just heard Triple G say that he would fight Floyd at 154, 52, whatever the fuck he said.
I've heard that, and I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, give me a break.
That's just fucking stupid, right? But he's willing to take the consensus and whatever the fuck. And I know Mayweather ain't Canelo, but Canelo's the new money man. So you got to do what you got to do, man. 15 mils on the table. That's a lot of money. Tell him to take it.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you can't turn that down. Nobody can. Neither one of them.
No rematch. Ain't gonna be no rematch clause for you on this one, Robbie. And those 5 bets we've been talking about, that's gonna be me and you, brother.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, Robbie?
About that.
What are you going to do with all those magazine clips that you have pinned up on your wall of Triple G after next week when Daniel Jacobs beats him?
He's got to take
Are you going to take them off your wall and throw them out? What are you going to do, Robbie? He's speechless. He can't even respond. Can't even respond to the Beeb. Can't even respond to the Beeb.
Wow.
Yeah, Beeb, you sticking to that, really? I can't believe it.
Of course I am.
There's a chance of winning,
6
man.
feet.
That's fucking
73-inch reach, foot speed, hand speed, beat cancer. This guy did it all. Egg white almonds with coconut oil, baby. He's ready.
He's faster. Ready. He's bigger. He's
ready.
Faster. I don't know, man.
And he was FaceTiming his son. And he promised his son he's not going to lose. That just did it for me right then and there, 24/7. Cut it out.
That's it. It's all over.
It's over. I can't wait, man. I can't wait.
No way,
The Miracle Man.
Yeah,
The Miracle Man.
They're horrible, aren't they? They're absolutely horrible.
I'm like,
The Miracle Man.
I wish I had something better to say, guys. I'm really sorry, but I'm like,
He's a fucking mental case is what he is.
Chris Algieri. Chris Algieri's preparing the meals. The avocados.
All right, guys. I wish you guys a good night, man.
All right. See you later, man. Good call.
Oh, my goodness. 347-347, you're live. Going once. 347. 347. All right. Maybe he's just listening.
Next.
Oh, that's cold-blooded. All right. So let's talk about here. Let's go over this real quick here before we get to the news and rumors section. If you haven't been checking out ringsidereporter.com, do so, man. We're updating often. We got some new writers over there. Neo Cogram is our UK correspondent. He's been tearing it up lately. Stephen McCowan is also back with us, and Taylor Houck is doing the postings. If you want to work with us, man, you'll have fun, man. That's for sure. We just sent Taylor to the Garcia-Jacobs fight, or the Garcia Thurman fight last week. Yeah, the Garcia-Thurman fight last week in New York. Stephen is going to go to the fights this week in Nashville, and I'll be in New York for the Triple G fight next week. And so if you want to work with us, man, we'll try and get you to the fights. We need writers, that kind of thing. So if you're interested, hey, man, we're always open. We're always looking for people. Contact us, and we'll try to get you to the big fights, man. We're looking for somebody out west, man. That's where we want to stake our claim out there, man. So a lot of fights going on in Vegas, a lot of fights going on in California, that sort of thing. So, hey, listen, man, we want everybody all over the country. So if you're interested in writing for us, man, hey, give me a shout at Ringside73 on Twitter, and we'll talk about it, man. So, but check out the website, man, ringsidereporter.com. Good stuff going on there. Beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. Always good stuff on Beeb's YouTube channel. So with that said, let's go to the news and rumors section here. Lou Duva, sad news here. Lou Duva passes away at age 95 or 94. It's one of those two. I don't know. Lou Duva, legendary trainer of Meldrick Taylor, Pernell Whitaker, and Evander Holyfield, Vinny Pazienza, Rocky Lockridge, and more passed away at the age of 95. Some reports now said 94, okay? But the New York Daily News said 95, so that's what we're going with. My favorite Lou Duva moment was during the Chavez-Taylor fight when the fight was stopped with 2 seconds left, and Lou Duva just absolutely blew a gasket on Richard Steele. It was classic. You just knew it was coming, man. Robert, what was your thoughts, man? Because I know you would call me when you heard about this. What were your thoughts when you first heard this news?
He lived a fantastic life. I mean, without him, we wouldn't have main events. So, his family put that together. Great promotional company. They promote guys such as Sergey Kovalev, and they've had a great history over the years. Tremendous loss, and I'm happy that the Boxing Hall of Fame is flying their flags at half staff. That's great. He deserves all the respect in the world. Awesome guy, and he deserved. Richard still deserved to have a gasket blown. He shouldn't have stopped that fight with 2 seconds left because Meldrick Taylor was winning that fight. Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. would have lost his first professional fight had Richard Steele allowed that fight to go to the decision. That's one that'll never be forgotten, man.
Yeah,
and that's one that'll never be forgotten.
Absolutely. B, what were your thoughts when you heard this?
94 years old. That's a long life, man. And he's been in the sport for what? How many years? 65 years or something like that? 70 years?
Yep.
I mean, wow. Talk about meritorious service. What can you say? This guy was a promoter. He was a fighter. He was a manager. He was a trainer. And all the guys that he was able to train, I think he trained he was an Olympic boxing coach too, if I'm not mistaken. So this guy's done it all. What more can you say? Lived a full life though, so you can't.
19 world champions, brother. 19 world champions.
I thought it was But yeah, I'll go with 19.
Yeah, lived a very full life.
Team.
Lived a very full life. So, you got to be happy that he was able to do what he did and do something he loved and be in the sport for so long and really, be a part of some big fights and be attached to some big fighters. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. All right, so moving forward here, the World Boxing Super Series, $50 million elimination tournament. That's right, 50 racks. Gangster talk for $50 million. The tournament is the first of its kind. It will kick off in September 2017. It will be taking place on an annual basis. The inaugural season of the World Boxing Super Series will feature 2 weight classes, 16 fighters, and a total of 14 main events in each weight class. 8 boxers will battle it out in a bracket-style elimination tournament with 4 quarterfinals, 2 semifinals, and 1 final. This makes for 7 top fights per weight class and a total of 14 fights in Season 1 to be staged in premier venues around the globe. An expert panel will invite the world's best boxers, namely the top 15 ranked fighters in the 4 big federations, WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO. Richard Schaefer is involved in this. What are your thoughts on this, Beeb? What are your thoughts on this, man? Good idea, not a good idea?
This is awesome. Wow. When you think of something like this, you go back and you look at the contender. But this is like similar concept, but just so much bigger. So I don't know exactly how this is going to all play out. I don't know that there's going to be big name fighters in this. I don't know how many fighters are going to be in this, but it's interesting. It's really interesting, and it's got a lot of money on the table. So at least this is good for the fighters. It gives fighters a chance to make a lot of money, and it gives fighters a chance to have some exposure here. So I kind of like these tournament type setup things. I like the Boxinos. I like the Super 6. Yeah. I like this stuff. This stuff is kind of fun. It's intriguing to me. I like it. I'm excited. I just don't know all the details behind this, but I'm sure as the following weeks, as weeks get put out there, they're going to let us know pretty soon, the particulars of this whole thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Terrence Crawford's next opponent has been narrowed down to the following: Amir Aman, the old master, I guess they're calling him. I guess it's the old master or whatever. Felix Diaz or Adrian Granados. The only one I'm interested in seeing him fight is Adrian Granados. That's it. Amir Aman, Adrian Granados knocked him out, so why not go with him? And Felix Diaz, I'm not real. I want to see him fight Adrian Granados because I know Adrian Granados will make him fight. What about you guys? What do you think about this?
Well, Amir Aman was definitely a murderer. He's a murderous puncher.
Oh, go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Amir Aman's a murderous puncher. He had that one slip up against Granados, but he was winning the fight. I think he was doing well. So I'm not saying he's going to win the fight, but it's interesting. He's got a puncher's chance. We'll see what happens. I don't think it's a horrible fight. I think, if you look at the Hank Lundy fight, I think that fight was less of a threat than Imam will be because Imam has that X factor with the right hand. So we'll see. But the Granados fight's definitely a good fight too because Granados is a big, strong kid. He was in there with Adrian Brun, who's pretty slick in his own right at 147. So that would be an interesting fight. I still think Crawford would win, but I think it would be a tough fight for Crawford. It'd be a very interesting and intriguing and entertaining fight to watch. So I don't think this is a horrible fight, but yeah, there could have been better opponents for him. Definitely.
I think Crawford beats all 3 of these guys.
Yeah, I think so too.
90 seconds.
I think he does too, but I think that, like I said, man, for me, I'd like to see him fight Adrian Granados, and Felix Diaz is good too. Amir, they're all good fighters, man. But for me, I know that Granados is going to bring the fight to him. Granados is going to be in his chest. He's going to make him fight. He's going to press the fight. That's why I want to see Granados in there. And I'm not saying that Felix Diaz wouldn't be a good fight, but that's why I want to see Granados in there. To me, that would be the best one.
Well, and Diaz would be an in-house fight because they're
60 seconds.
Say
keep that in mind. That might be the easiest of the 3 to make.
Yeah, you kind of wonder about that too. I mean, the fact that Felix Diaz is in house and everything like that, but we'll get to this in a little bit. I mean, look at Tim Bradley. I mean, there's plenty of fights out there for him, and I mean, he's not. I I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people in Top Rank, but he's been inactive, and I don't know if that's been by choice or what, you know. So we'll kind of see where that
Well,
goes.
I do know in Tim's case it's been by choice because he's had other things to deal with from articles I've read.
Yeah.
So
Right, exactly. I think that's, to me, that's the thing, man. It's Crawford and Diaz would be a good fight. I don't want to see Amir Ahman. I think Amir Ahman needs a couple of comeback fights. He needs a couple of comeback fights before he comes up to that level. To me, that's like a tune-up fight for Crawford. But I think, like I said, man, Granados or Diaz, I think those are good fights. My personal preference, of course, I like Granados. Okay, so moving on now. Speaking of Terrence Crawford, it's time for our train wreck of the week. Beeb.
Are you ready? Soundbite? Or are you going to chicken out again?
Oh.
Come on. We need you. Go ahead. You're not going to do it?
I'm doing it here.
Do it. Come on.
Go. Chugga.
All right.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Love it. All right.
Yeah, you didn't go on the camera?
So the train wreck of the week, Terrence Crawford's baby mama takes out his side chick. According to Mystery Wakefield, this is her name, Mystery Wakefield, around 10 a.m., 2 women showed up at her place of employment looking for a fight, but left when she informed them that her shift would not be over till later in the day. Around 1 o'clock, another woman showed up, said to be Crawford's longtime girlfriend, Alindra Pearson, showed up and waited for Wakefield to clock out and met her in the parking lot. A recording of the incident was taken by a bystander believed to be an associate of Pearson's. Both women appeared to prepare for and willingly engage before a crowd standing around to watch the altercation. These 2 girls got into a fight over Terrence Crawford. Apparently, one was the baby's mama, one was his side girl. They got to fight. Minutes into the fight, a couple of cars pulled up, and Crawford was seen exiting one of them, then interjecting himself into the conflict. He didn't appear to get physical at any point, but he would be arrested a couple blocks away from the location where police took him in for a disturbance claim. After attempting to bail from the scene, police confirmed that his vehicle was stopped as a direct result of the call they had received about the fight. The bottom line, Terrence Crawford was let go a couple hours later. I don't think he did anything wrong. He was just let go a couple hours later. So there it is. You know what really bothers me about this whole thing? By the way, if you want to see the carnage between Terrence Crawford's baby mama and his side chick, just go to ringsidereporter.com. We have, of course, full video, courtesy of TMZ on there. You know what kills me about this whole thing? Out of all the boxing things that we posted this week, out of all of it, I mean, we posted stuff on Mayweather. We posted the results of the fights, talking about new fights. We got Stephen McCowan. We got Neil Cogram out there doing legit journalism for us. Legit boxing journalism for us. This was, without a doubt, the highest rated story on our website. 2 chicks duking it out over Terrence Crawford. Train wreck of the week. There you go. All right. There could have been a lot of train wrecks of the week this week. Floyd Mayweather's van was torched in the UK. That's right, anarchy in the UK. Floyd Mayweather had one of his entourage's vans burnt to a crisp in what appears to be an arson attack in this weekend in the UK, or last weekend in the UK. Floyd was speaking at an event inside the International Convention Center in Birmingham Saturday night when one of his custom TMT vans was torched outside and left smoldering. The boxer is currently on his undefeated tour where he was speaking in front of audiences and doing meet and greets with fans. What is going on in the UK? Beeb, these are your people.
Yeah, that's crazy. This is the thing I've always said about Floyd Mayweather. Again, to each his own, but when you're constantly telling people how rich you are, you're constantly flaunting everything that you own, people are going to get sick and tired of that. And, case in point, his house got robbed a few times. And, I don't know. There's a lot of jealous people out there, but because in this world today, not everyone's doing good. So to sit there and throw it in their face on how good you're doing, after a while, people are going to get sick of it. Now, does that justify someone burning his van or someone breaking into his house? No. But again, some of this behavior kind of I'm not going to say warrants this, but it invites it to some degree. So, this is just people kind of lashing back out at him a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. Let's see here. Gervonta Davis will defend against Liam Walsh in the UK. Gervonta Davis will take on Liam Walsh for Davis's IBF super featherweight title. The bout will take place in the UK. Beeb, what are your thoughts on this, man? This is a good fight. This is a decent fight, yeah?
Definitely a good fight. Obviously, it's not Lomachenko, but again, this is a process and there's steps to this. There's levels to this. And, definitely a tough opponent for Gervonta Davis. It's not bad for a first offense. And it's not a given either. It could be a tough fight. Could definitely be a tough fight. It's not a given.
This is he's not exactly Deontay Wildering it here, man. He's going after some competition here. This is not a easy walkover.
No, without question, it's a tough fight.
Absolutely.
What's the date on that fight, Eric?
I think they got one. I'm not 100% sure of it though. I know they had a press conference on it, but yeah, I don't know. Soon.
Well, because this could be another Showtime International kind of deal.
Yeah, it'll definitely be. Yeah, Showtime's definitely doing that. Yeah, I mean, Gervonta Davis, part of TMT. Yeah, TMT Promotions. Yeah, they'll definitely. Yeah, they'll definitely do that for sure. Floyd Mayweather out of retirement for the Conor McGregor fight. Floyd Mayweather is ready to come out of retirement to face Conor McGregor as early as June if he can reach an agreement with the UFC lightweight champion, 2-division champion in the UFC, by the way. Today, I'm officially out of retirement for Conor McGregor, Mayweather said in a video posted by Fight Hype. We don't need to waste no time. We don't need to make this blank happen quickly. Let's get it on in June. Let me ask you guys a question. What's more likely to happen, Floyd versus Conor or Manny versus Amir Khan?
Floyd versus Conor. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give Dana a big piece of that pie in order for Dana to allow that to go through.
Uncle Dana, you can see him on my Twitter page, huh? About that, me and my Uncle Dana. Paulie Malignaggi has finally called it a career, man, and he made this official on Twitter this week. I think it's a good time for Malignaggi to step aside. He's retired this week. He had a good career, man. There's no reason to tarnish that. He was, by his own admission, a gatekeeper in his last fight. And I got to be honest, I was very impressed. Don't get me wrong, man. I was very impressed with Sam Eggington. But I got to be honest, man. I don't know that Paulie's in his prime that he beats Eggington, honestly. I thought Eggington really impressed me in that fight. But I think Paulie Malignaggi definitely gave him a better fight in his prime, for sure. Robert, what are your thoughts on this? I know you've been really strong on the side of Malignaggi retiring. Are you happy he's gone?
I'm happy he's gone if he actually is gone, because remember, he fought Danny Garcia on ESPN. Danny Garcia basically beat him to a pulp. And he said after that fight he was retired, and he continued fighting. He had 2 or 3 fights in the UK, and then he fought Gabriel Becerra in New York on a Show Extreme card. I hate to say this, but can we believe that he's going to stay retired? Look, he had a wonderful career with all of his hand injuries and stuff like that. He accomplished more than probably what he should have. He 2-division champion. He's got a great gig with CBS and Showtime. But can we believe that he's going to stay retired? That's my only question. Is he actually going to stick to his word? Because a lot of boxers, we've covered this sport long enough. A lot of boxers, they'll say they're retired, and the next thing you know, they're going to come back and fight. So can we believe what Paulie says? If he sticks to his word, I'm happy for him. But if he doesn't, I don't know if I can believe him.
I think after this fight, after the Eggington fight, I think it's it for him. I think he's for real about it, man. I really do. I just think, I think you can't, if he looks at that tape, that's not a lack of training. That's not a lack of preparation. That's time passing you by. And it was pretty obvious in that fight, man. He was hit with shots that he shouldn't have been hit with. Yeah, I think this is it for him. I really do. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, so, I hope that's the case, man, because he accomplished a hell of a lot.
Absolutely. And so here it is, man. So one guy retires, one guy comes back. Tyson Fury told boxing fans on Twitter Monday that his return to the ring after a long layoff for personal reasons would come May 13th. This comeback will supposedly be against a non-determined opponent, Box Nation and BT Sport. It'll be on one of those stations. Apparently, this was news to the British Board of Boxing here. General Secretary Robert Smith, who upon hearing the news, reminded us everybody that Tyson Fury is suspended. He has a lot of issues that needs to be dealt with before he even thinks about getting into the ring properly. We haven't had any contact with him, and since he was suspended, so I would expect if he was looking to box again, he'll need to contact us. He hasn't done so, therefore nothing has changed. So there you go. Before he comes back in the ring, man, he's going to have to, face the board again and get his license. And yeah, I saw a picture, and somebody in the chat said a 350-pound monster. I saw pictures of him. I don't know how current those pictures are, but he looked blown up in those pictures. I mean, he looks like he gained some weight. So there's he gained a significant amount. Now, I don't know how old the pictures are, how new they are. It just looked, he had some significant weight gain there. That's for sure. Timothy Bradley, looking for a Miguel Cotto fight. This, according to Bradley's wife/manager. Honestly, as she just said it in a passing interview, I think it makes sense. I mean, they're both equal when it comes to activity levels for sure. Beeb, what do you think about this fight? Is this a good fight for Bradley? And do you think it'll come off?
I don't think it's a bad fight, and it's definitely makeable. I don't know if Bob Arum has any sour grapes towards Miguel Cotto. I'm sure he'd work with him again. It's not a bad fight. I think these guys are kind of at a crossroads in their careers. Tim Bradley is on the downside slightly. He's turned the corner. So has Miguel Cotto. The thing is are both guys on the same level? Have they declined to a point where the fight can be competitive and can be intriguing? Because we all know Miguel Cotto can still crack. And the big thing is, will Timothy Bradley be able to, deal with Miguel Cotto's power? Because he's a 154-pounder. So what weight would this fight be at? I think Bradley said that he would not mind fighting Cotto at 154. That's a weight class that Bradley's never fought in. He's not a huge welterweight, so he'd be an even smaller junior middleweight. But we'll have to see. I mean, it's an intriguing fight because of the styles, I think. Because Bradley's a guy who, when he gets hit, sometimes he likes to go right back at his opponent, and Cotto will be there in the pocket with him, slugging it out. So it will be interesting to see if Cotto can get Bradley out of there at this stage.
Yeah, I think so. Top Rank takes a triple.
I like that fight. I like it a lot.
I do too. I don't think there's anything wrong with that fight. I don't hate that fight. I like it a lot better than Cotto Kirkland, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Top Rank takes a triple header.
Yeah, I like it a lot better than James Kirkland.
Top Rank has put together a fight card for April 22nd. The main event will feature WBO featherweight champion Oscar Valdez. He will take on Miguel Mariaga, and Gilberto Ramirez and Jesse Magdaleno are also on the card. This will also feature the debut of silver medalist Shakur Stevenson. Overall, man, this is a good card, but clearly not a pay-per-view caliber card. These are decent matchups, but more geared toward an HBO championship boxing or boxing after dark. The pay-per-view will feature 4 fights and costs $44.95 in SD, standard definition, and $54.95 in HD, gangster talk for high definition. I tell you what, man, this is not a good. I mean, HBO turned this series of fights down, and so they're going to take him to pay-per-view. Robert, what are your thoughts on this? Because, I mean, is this something you'll watch?
No, because the same night Sean Porter is going to fight Andre Berto, and I would rather watch that fight for free than pay for this. Now, I will tell you something: if this fight was scheduled for a week earlier, April 15th, I'd buy it. But it's on the same night as Porter and Berto. I'm going to watch the Showtime card. I'm not paying money for this. If you want to change the date and make it earlier, I would consider it. But if you're going to keep it on that date, forget it.
I would agree. Yeah, I'm not big on the fight, to be honest with you. And I'm sure not going to. I'd definitely watch Porter versus Berto before I watch that one for sure.
Berto. Yep.
Manny Pacquiao will not be fighting Amir Khan after all. After the two boxers reportedly came to an agreement to fight in the United Arab Emirates in April, top-ranked promoter Bob Arum said on Tuesday that the fight has been canceled. According to ESPN's Dan Rafael, Arum had been skeptical of the $38 million offer that Pacquiao and his advisor Michael Kontz had been pursuing from an unnamed investment group in the United Arab Emirates. An unnamed investment. However, Kontz and Pacquiao believed it to be real. Both Pacquiao and Kontz had announced the deal on social media. Did those two buy a bridge too in a desert bridge in Arizona, or some oceanfront property in Arizona? Isn't that how the song goes?
Yep, that's how the song goes.
On Tuesday, Arum told ESPN that Kontz was on his way to the Philippines to tell Pacquiao that the deal was nothing but a fantasy. Michael's on it. He said, and let me tell you what, man, Michael Kontz and Manny Pacquiao, they've got it. Michael Kontz especially, because he's the one that tries to go out and get these deals, has got to feel like an absolute moron right about now, especially when everyone warned him about the deals in the UAE. Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor, there's been tons of fights or of people in the UAE offering big-time fights, with, crazy fights. And you hear it in MMA all the time that they offer these big numbers for fights and everything, but there's nothing there. It's all nonsense. You know what I mean? Robert, go ahead.
Yeah, no money shows up.
Right. Robert, what were your thoughts on this, man?
Yeah. Well, let me start. Look, I'm excited about a possible fight between those two because I think it would be great. So, it may not happen in the Middle East, which is a good thing, but I don't see any reason why these two can't make a deal. I think it would be an outstanding fight to watch. Yeah, it's going to be on pay-per-view. You know what? But it would be worth paying for because we could actually see what both of these guys have left. I think it would be a fun fight to watch. I don't think the fight itself is a bad idea, but you need to be serious about it and put it in a location where people could watch it. You can't go by these UAE deals because none of them ever come off because no money ever shows up. I mean, if money would ever show up just to the promoters, they'd be all over this. But I still think that this is a fight worth having. Let's sit down and put it together and find a date that works for both of them. I think it's a good fight. I really do.
You know who's getting Pacquiao next, don't you? You know who's getting Pacquiao next, don't you?
You?
You know who's getting Pacquiao next,
no,
don't you?
Who?
Slammer's son, Adrian Brawner. Who? Brawner's getting him next. Cincinnati's coming for him next, baby. That's the next fight. That's going to be the next fight. I don't know. I'm just making it up, but that's my guess.
See.
That's my wild guess.
I think you're right.
I think I'm right, too. I think I'm right, too.
I think you're right.
I think so.
Okay, Eric, are you? They're going to have the fight in Cincinnati?
No, they wouldn't have that fight in Cincinnati.
Vegas.
Yeah, they'll probably have it in Vegas. Yeah, they would probably have it in Vegas. I would imagine.
Well, you know what? I'd pay for Broner Pacquiao.
Yeah, I'd pay to watch Broner slap him around for a few rounds. I'd pay for that. All right. TriStar Boxing returns to Nashville. Professional boxing returns to Music City when TriStar Boxing prevents St. Patty's Day fights at the fairgrounds. Friday, March 17th at the Tennessee Fairgrounds and Sports Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. The 8-card bout features 4 unbeaten fighters, and tickets are for $25, man. On sale, going to tristarboxing.com/tickets. Doors open at 6 p.m. The first fight is at 7. Yeah, absolutely, man. So if you're in the Nashville area, go check that out. A lot of good fights there. And finally, what could have been our other train wreck of the week, Oscar De La Hoya charged in a DUI case. Prosecutors are moving forward with charges. DUI and driving with a .8 or above. If convicted, he faces 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine. De La Hoya could be going to the pokey here. It speaks volumes that this wasn't the train wreck of the week. Yes, it does. Yes, it absolutely
And if you noticed, once again, Golden Boy show last night, De La Hoya nowhere to be found, and Hopkins was the only representative there.
Ain't good, man.
Pretty much.
That's right. Oscar wasn't there.
That ain't good. Not good, son. Not good. All right.
Well, hey, do you think Bernard will wind up running the company?
No, Eric Gomez.
Eric Gomez probably will, yeah.
Eric Gomez is running the company. He's running the company now. Oscar's not making any decisions over there.
Hopkins doesn't have the experience just yet.
No.
That's true. So, hey, Eric, you're going to be running your own promotion company. Let's see you put on that Triple G fight, brother.
That's right. There you go. All right. That'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert, or you can call Ringside Robbie's Corner at 773-572-7781. Talk to the man himself. Leave him a message. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1 and find his YouTube channel at www.beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. I'm at Ringside 73, and we'll see you next week.
Miracle Man, baby.
See it?
Miracle Man.
Going all the way, son.
24 in a row, baby. 24 in a row,
Thank you for
baby.
using Blog Talk Radio.
It's over, Robbie.